All right. We are officially live.
Ooh. Yippee.
We are officially...
Ba ba. Ba ba ba.
Ba, ba, ba. I need to do this and that. Today, the plan is that we have no plan. We are planning on not having a plan.
Yep. Well, we're planning on just having a good time.
And yes. So.
Hero chat to.
Hero. Greetings from Mexico. Greetings from Arizona. We're neighbors.
Yeah, we are neighbors.
Hello, neighbor.
Hello.
I like the plan. Nice. Look at all this.
Wow.
Rico. Oh my gosh. Lexi was actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 9th to join today.
Really?
Which is crazy.
That is crazy.
Lexi has an impeccable track record.
Mm-hmm.
Fox was the 2nd, but it didn't actually say Fox's username on there for the joins for some reason.
Really?
Welcome. Ari, Ina, Who's Spidery, Rat King. Hello,
Rat
welcome.
King. Okay, I need to draw a face on this so it's more attractive.
You were the 4th, you thought? TikTok does give us conflicting information. I believe you.
Do I feel a kitty?
Is it Poppy? Yeah, it feels like Poppy.
Puppy.
Poppy's been friendlier these days, I think.
Lally.
La.
L-A-L-I. Tofungus, Gizmo, Fico Rigs, Beans. We got the whole crew here today.
Yeah, we sure do.
Cyber.
Yeah, we got like the OGs, huh?
Beans.
Bleens. I should make up beans and rice again.
Oh, how are we, guys? We're good.
Mm-hmm.
Katsua. Your streams always make me want to draw, but it's 1 a.m. Baldur's Gate 3 time. Play for us. We played last night.
Yeah, we did.
We played without you.
Yeah.
And we reached level 8.
Bro, Carl accidentally became our healer. Oh.
What?
Chat's gone.
Stinking TikTok.
I have school tomorrow? Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Arabella.
Hey, Tickle Monster.
How to draw energetic male eyes.
That's like vibe, right? So
My eyes.
yeah, it is like your eyes. Energetic male eyes.
Nice Gizmo.
I feel like some Genshin characters might have some pretty good examples, but like look up peppy male characters if you're gonna do like anime style and look at their eye shape, and you'll notice that there's like a lot of like upward facing curves. So like the more curves you have that go up like this, the more energetic they'll look. So yeah, like look how energetic that looks. It's cute and peppy.
Lau, hello. You did anime art school homework, Gizmo says, instead of my school homework.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, that is right.
Stick it to those teachers. Hello, I got another tattoo. Nice.
Okay.
The Ugly King, welcome back. I remember your username yesterday. Did you say something funny? I'm struggling on eyelashes and jawline.
Eyelashes and jawline, the epitome of
Perfectly
beauty.
chiseled. As all things should be.
Yep.
Hello, Nikita.
Nikita?
Yeah, I said that in an excited way because it reminded me of Escape from Tarkov and made me want to play it.
I'm drawing Miki.
You saw the live yesterday? Nice.
Oh, awesome. Were you new?
You guys are in school? A lot of chat is.
Yeah.
I'm 30.
I'm 25. I ain't in school anymore yet. I still have...
We run a school.
Yes, we do run a school.
Wow, that's horrible, Tickle Monster. I hope you feel better. You're into hospital. Yet my mother is still making me go tomorrow to school.
Oh, no.
Colton's in 7th grade. Yes, I am a 7th grader. I probably couldn't do most of 7th graders' homework, honestly. My brain's so rotted from TikTok and...
I think I just forget everything, and it's just, I don't know how y'all do this.
How do you draw an androgynous face? It's kind of like a dial.
Yeah.
There's like different features.
So like, I think you can kind of think of it like getting a bunch of different characteristics. Like, oh, what makes something feminine versus what makes something masculine.
You go next week. Can't believe Colton's already 52. Quick, Colton, what's 2 + 2? Miki.
Miki. So like you can basically say feminine versus masculine for every kind of feature or every kind of face shape. So like let's say eyes, for example, and we can go into lashes. Like feminine eyes is more like, once again, it's all about vibe. So I would say feminine eyes are more lash heavy and they are thicker, and they also tend to have, think of like shoujo manga. Shoujo manga is like epitome of feminine, and so they will have lots of lovely lashes.
Lovely lashes.
And so lashes, and we'll kind of talk about that as well. Lashes isn't just like boom, boom, boom. It's not. I mean, like technically that's like a symbol of lashes, but
yeah,
it's
you
an
can do
elegant.
that.
You can absolutely. I mean, like
you
Rock
can.
Lee has that, I think, right? Does he have that?
Yeah, SpongeBob.
Yeah, SpongeBob also has that.
So like, this is like a stylistic thing, because real eyelashes work in a certain way, and you can either replace them with symbols or you can simplify them. Like there's a lot of different ways you can take something. So there isn't really a right answer.
Yeah.
And if you arrange pretty much anything in an aesthetic way, it'll look good and you can get away with it.
Yeah.
Design is king.
Design is king. Design is the ultimate. So like if you want to do like more natural lashes that feel not like this, lashes actually, if you look at our own realistic lashes, they come out like this rather than straight out. I'm just using straight as an example because I used to draw eyelashes like this. So like when you want to draw the lashes, you can start from the pupil and just kind of like radiate outwards, and they radiate. So you can draw one lash here and it goes out like this.
What character was Christina drawing? That was Miki.
That was Miki, Colton's character.
Awesome outline, stroke of detail. Lao boys, hello.
So like look at that. That looks really nice.
Skipping school, still on legal vacation. Illegal vacation. Oh, that's different.
Illegal vacation.
I approve.
Yep.
I saw a video on what short videos do. Safe to say my 30-minute TikTok has gone down to 10 minutes a day. That's great.
Hey,
I haven't been on TikTok in days, but I can't say I replaced it with something better because I've been playing Baldur's Gate like 8 hours a day. Does it take a long time to become a professional artist? It depends. If someone will pay you to do it and you can make a living off of it, congratulations, you're a professional artist. And technically that could take a very long time or no time at all.
Yeah. If you can market yourself well.
But to be more specific, it depends on what industry you want to get hired in. It really depends what industry you want to get hired in. It generally, I don't know, on average, and this is a really, really general thing, it depends on your starting skill level. It depends how hardcore you go. You're probably looking at like 3 to 7 years. Any tips on where to start become professional? Decide what you want to try and shoot for. Do you want to be an animator? Do you want to be a concept artist? Do you want to be an illustrator? A lot of them, the fundamentals are going to overlap, like dimensional drawing and design and, figure and gesture drawing. I would really start with a direction.
I don't think like...
I visited your site to enroll for art class, but I was overwhelmed by what to read or click. What questions do you have?
Yeah, what questions?
You mean the anime art school, or do you mean the live class starting in February? Hey, Misaki. Really, the whole gang is here today.
Yeah, sure is.
Have you done any art trades lately?
Art trades?
It's always Miki, I should have known. Some people have trouble drawing with eye and body part. Huh?
Body parts?
How much does Procreate cost? I don't like $12.
$12.
How do you study an art style? We could talk about how to study art styles.
I think that'd be kind of fun.
That could be really cool. Y'all know me, chat. When we go into studying art styles, everybody's like, yippee! And then I start speaking in a language nobody really understands, and everybody's like, oh.
Maybe we should choose like an aesthetic artist or something. Like a cute cutesy anime style.
The anime art school is different from the live class in February. Yes.
Yes.
So the anime art school is a self-paced college, basically, with a whole bunch of classes that you own forever, and
Yep.
you can go through at your own pace whenever you want. And the live class is starting in February, and it's a 6-week long live class that you show up for on Saturdays, and you will have access to the class recordings for a good couple months afterwards. And we teach it live. Like, you'll actually be able to ask us questions and stuff. So that's the difference. And the live class is the like the teal button that says figure drawing and what's it called?
And anatomy.
An anatomy, yeah. But yeah, which one were you interested in? Because I can tell you all about it.
Yeah, and we have
Hey,
pictures of like
Arma
anime
talks.
art school as well. So
We're doing pretty good here.
yeah, we are.
Give her ribbon.
Give her the ribbon.
Yeah,
She ain't Miki without the ribbon.
she ain't Miki without the ribbon. How much is the live class? 500. And you'll get critiques every single week. You'll get a live class. It's on Saturdays. You will do the homework, and everything that you turn in will get critiqued.
Yes.
And how long do the live classes usually last on Saturday? The lesson will ask, depending on the week, 3.5 hours, sometimes more if it's a big week. And then there's a lot of critique. So we go through everybody's work, critique it, do draw overs, all that kind of stuff. It's like a
It's like a little online college class.
yeah. It's all online. It's on Zoom, so anybody can sign up. And you will get access to the recordings of the class. So if you can't make it, you can still turn in homework and you'll still get critiques. And you can just watch the recording of your critique.
Yeah.
Any age, yeah.
Yeah,
We
any age.
recommend at least 13. We did have someone who was 13 take it last term.
Yes, we did actually.
And she did really good. How to sign up?
You
Here's
go
the linky.
draw anime.
And it's going to be the teal button.
The teal button.
Yeah,
teal
it's going to say figure drawing and anatomy. It's the only one on there that looks like that. Teal button. But yeah, it was we sold out the first term. First term we ran classes, we sold out. It went really well. There's a number of students in here. Dahlia's signed up. Misaki was a student
Yep.
in a past term. Both digital and traditional, you can. You can do both digital or traditional in the class.
I think whenever people do traditional, it's always like very exciting. Like,
nice.
ooh, that's fun.
Shattuck Paradox, you signed up for the Clive class.
Really?
That's great. Not too long ago. Nice. When did you sign up?
I don't want.
What's the fastest way to improve on drawing in your opinion? Doing high quality exercises a lot, with good feedback. Like, I don't think there's any faster way to improve than doing good high quality exercises and getting a critique on them, and then going back to the same assignment and doing it again, implementing the stuff that you learned about. But you need to be critiqued by someone who knows what they're talking about. You don't want like beginners critiquing, because they'll just give you advice like, oh, this eye is a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
Like, that's not
they'll kinda
really
nitpick.
foundational.
Yeah, it's not.
You want to get like a good professional critique and practice really good high quality assignments, like whatever, construct 50 heads using whatever method, right? Also, art is very process driven, very, very process driven. Oh, you're super doozy. Nice. Okay. Shattuck Paradox is super doozy.
Okay. Okay. Got you.
If I want to do the anime art school, I get access to all lessons for one price. Yes. And you own it forever. It is our largest, most comprehensive program.
Yes.
Oh, there's Dingy as well. How is everybody here today? Hey, Dingy.
They all the OGs just decided we're gonna hop in the stream today.
All the live students are here for some reason. Tips on hair drawing, possibly. I'm excited. Yeah, that's exciting, Dahlia. I'm excited for you to be in the class again. That's gonna be nice.
Dolly always works very hard, and she's been improving so much. But yeah. You know, I like teaching anatomy. You know, it's definitely a rabbit hole that
Oh,
you
you got a
can go
job.
into. Oh, really?
Dingy got a job.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
very cool.
What?
What do you do? That's fun. Awesome. Sayrin. You can also join the Discord server. We have a community there. W Dingy. You work at a daycare? Oh, that's so
Yay.
sweet.
Oh my gosh.
We basically have a daycare around here too.
Our chat. The chat is our little kindergartners.
I was talking about the cats.
Oh, oops.
Little poopy babies. There's no kitty in the nest for kitty cam, but
There is a kitty on the other side of the nest. The other nest.
to be able to get into good art high schools, is there anything I should do to like prepare? I don't know. I never went to
I went to an art high school.
I never went to one, but Christina did.
I think the portfolio, like if they will check your portfolio, you should basically ask like what they want. Because they'll probably have like a criteria. That's the way how you'll prepare. It's definitely not, I would say like start preparing early. It's definitely not something that you need to do. You have to do like last minute. I would say have as much variety as you can. But I would say if they have a website that shows like what portfolio it is, or they have like an instructor or even students at the school that they're like, oh yeah, what did you sign up to the school with? You know, ask them those things, and they'll help you with that.
Hey, Tofungus. Do you need a cough drop?
I need a cough drop.
We're recovering from a sickness. Christina tends to get a lot of coughs
I do.
when she's getting better from a sickness. I don't really cough that much when I'm getting better. I didn't know, like, be honest, chat. Did you even know there was such a thing called an art high school? Like, I had no idea there was even a thing. I thought high school, I thought you just, like, went to school and that's it. Like, that's kind of crazy, right? I just joined. What are you teaching us? Answering a lot of chat questions right now while Christina doodles. She's done a little bit of stuff over here.
Sometimes the coughs just come in and shock me.
Yeah, I didn't know about art high schools, dude. I just drew. I made my high school an art high school by just drawing all the time.
Yeah. I mean, like, what I entered with my portfolio was, like, my art teacher kind of prepped it for me. She
Yeah.
basically just had, like, a bunch of, she just made me do a bunch of art that had, like, different, like, subject matters.
Can they
and
even
stuff.
reject people? Like, since they're publicly funded, at least here in the States, like, are they allowed to reject people? Because that was, like, a thing. Like, I went to this high school, and I moved there, and the high school, like, didn't want me there because I was weird. Like,
Weird?
my grades weren't, like, they weren't bad. They just weren't great, and they want good public funding, so they want everybody who's, like, super good grades, right? So they're like, I'm not sure if you're inside of our zone. We,
Even-
like, lived super close to school. I
Oh
could, like,
my
walk there.
gosh.
And they're just like, I'm not sure if you guys are within the zone. You know, you might want to go to this other school. And it's, like, some school that's, like, notoriously known to be, like, have a bunch of, like, misbehaving
Delinquents?
people.
Oh,
Delinquents, yeah.
my gosh.
Like, Cromartie High School type deal.
Oh, I don't,
And,
oh my goodness.
But, like, they couldn't reject me. Like, they had to let me in because I was so close. I didn't know high schools could
Reject
people.
I didn't know that either. I mean,
I
I
don't
knew
know
that
anything
for,
about this stuff.
I knew that for my school when I went, they had, like, people on wait lists and stuff. And it was, like, yeah. But they also had, like, high grades and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was a thing. I was just sitting there, you know. I was just sitting there doing my own thing. Do you improve more by drawing digitally or on paper? It doesn't matter. It's the assignments that you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's kind of like saying, do you learn piano better on, like, I don't know, an electric keyboard or an
A real
acoustic real piano? Is it called like acoustic piano?
I don't know.
Is it, or is it isn't a piano technically like a string instrument because it hits the little wires?
I guess it is kind of a string instrument.
Or it's not percussion, is it?
No,
But
it's
you know
not
what I
percussion.
mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, you learn either way. You draw lines. You use colors.
Mm-hmm.
I think that painting is better to learn traditionally because you have a much more limited palette. That's why most schools teach painting traditionally, but unfortunately most schools kind of teach it in a crap way. So
Well, they don't even teach art.
yeah,
That's the thing. Like, they'll just, like, teach, like, oh, yeah, here's a bit of, like, Photoshop stuff. And they'll most of the time send you just to, like, a YouTube channel or,
Yeah.
like, weird online curriculum, and it doesn't even talk about art at
Yeah.
all.
If you want to learn how to paint, find out if there is an artist school. Where we live, there's a school called the Scottsdale Artist School, and you can literally sign up for an oil painting class that's 10 weeks long for like $800, and you're going in there with oils, learning from an insanely good artist who's been painting professionally for like who had galleries for 40 years. Like, that's better than any college class I'd ever taken on painting. Just like
Yeah.
some $700 class that anybody can sign up for, or $800 class. It's insane. Take someone to hit it to make a sound, so it's percussion. That's interesting.
Oh, interesting.
It's like a percussion string.
Percussion string instrument. Huh.
What instrument would Minecraft note blocks be considered? Good exercises to get better at line quality.
You have some exercises if you want to show it.
I tried clicking the confirm subscription on the emailing list that I tried, but it says been removed or moved. I'm not sure. I can assure you you're on it if you click confirm. There's people who are on it like 5 or 6 times because they keep hitting subscribe over and over. We haven't really sent out a lot, though. The mallets make it percussion.
Oh.
Your voice is a percussion instrument. Do you know any good stylus pen that could work on many devices like iPhone or iPad, maybe laptop? I think a lot of devices work differently intentionally to force you to buy stuff.
You know, I think an interesting way to practice line is like trying to create interesting shapes with the line. So like, let's say you have like one really like flat looking line like this, and then you basically like, okay, well, what can I do to make this line more interesting? Well, I can say, oh, maybe we'll like create an interesting shape with this line and make one side thicker and one side, you know, smaller. So like transition is really important for line weight, right? Because you got like some thick to thin motion, and it like simulates movement. You know, then you also got like hard and soft. So like hard, which is like very, very dense, and also very, very light strokes, which is like lighter. So then you can say, oh, drinking that is weird with my cough drop. So
you have a cough drop?
I do. And then there's also like, okay, you have like a very solid line to a more like hatching line. You can just kind of like test things out. I'll notice like a lot of time anime artists will use like just a mixture of all these. Like some artists will just purely use like one without any line weight whatsoever, so all their lines are like really uniform and also interesting because they also use different textures. Or like especially for hair, for example, like let's say your hair looks like this.
Homie, what is going on?
Poppy wants on that bed, but she wants Applejack to go away, and Applejack was fighting back at her, and she hissed. You know, the
That's
usual
really
Poppy.
Funny. Poppy's being weird, so she's trying to steal Applejack's bed, and then when he won't leave, she acts like he's the bad guy and runs off and is mad. You know, typical torty behavior. Allegations. Poppy, we witnessed it.
Oh, welcome to Ray Tier.
Ray Tier, welcome. Is that how you say it? Fi or Fay? F-A-I. Fi Feather, thank you, and welcome to Ray Tier.
You're so silly, Apple. Yeah, welcome. So then, like, you can take this hair strand and be like, okay, why do they have, like, these thicker lines, especially when there's overlaps? Well, it's because this kind of creates, like, a bit of a shadow on this strand, so, like, they'll add that little dark spot.
Yeah,
you know, and that's
that is definitely one way you can make line work more interesting.
Yeah.
And it's because it gives more variety.
Yeah.
Just remember that when it comes to drawing, things tend to look better when there's more variety.
Yeah.
Variety in line weight, variety in line size, variety in shapes, variety in length of lines, variety in like stroke length, right? Like, like these strokes right here, shorts and a long. That gives variety and makes it interesting.
Yep.
So when you have a whole bunch of different kinds of variety, it tends to make it interesting. Everything is contrast, right? The contrast between two things. So that'll help. It says page not found. The emailing list doesn't actually bring you anywhere.
No.
It just signs you up for the emailing list.
In order to get like anime art school and stuff, I don't know who was asking it.
They're talking about the emailing list.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Your voice could be strings or woodwinds. Are there like strings in there somewhere? Like, what are vocal cords anyways? Is it called vocal cords because they're actually chords, or is it kind of just like they say that? Like, you know what I mean? Or like a voice box. What's the difference between vocal cords and a voice box? Like, are the cords in the box? You know, a lot of questions. A lot of interesting questions. Bye-bye, Tickle Monster.
Bye. Literally learning more from your class than my school. Oh, love you all. Thank you. How you teach is so understandable. Thank you. We really appreciate that. I mean, some of this information is kind of hard to come by. Like, we had to take classes in order to learn this information as well.
Oh yeah.
So like, and I mean, it's kind of to be expected that a lot of schools don't really teach this kind of stuff because they're not like artists, you know. Most of the time, they kind of do art as a hobby, but not necessarily the fundamentals.
They are actually kind of like flaps, like voice flaps.
Oh, I've seen vocal cords like through like a camera before on a YouTube video.
It's actually considered both strings and wind. Is it necessary to learn color theory for rendering? No. The color is not necessary for rendering. If you want to, or color theory, if you want to render in color, you should probably learn the basics of color theory. But rendering is just basically showing the form as light hits it. Need to redo the head class because my heads suck. Hey, that's why we give it to you forever. That's why you get it forever. It's the best way to practice shadows. I don't know about the best way, but you have to understand what shadows are, right? Shadows are where the light is not hitting. So this has to do with like thinking dimensionally, right? So if we've got an object, like let's just say we have like a cylinder or something, in order to get shadows, we have to have a light and we have to have something blocking that light, right? And then where the light doesn't hit, we're going to get a shadow. And where the light doesn't hit, right? We could even do this, like the light is behind and it's coming towards us. And then a shadow comes out, right? So in order to get shadows, there's got to be a light, there's got to be an object, and then the object blocks the light. I don't know any other way to get shadows other than that, right? If you talking about something like ambient occlusion, like it's still the same, right? It's just the object is blocking the light. So the best way to practice shadows, in my opinion, would be to learn how to draw 3D objects, because you can't have shadows without 3D objects blocking light, and learn the basics of lighting, like light direction, you know, cast shadows. There's a good example on this iPad here. Was this like dead?
No.
Here's like a good example. This is from like a rendering class that I taught in our anime art school, and this is an example of the work that I teach you how to do, which is like calculating cast shadows. I can't really hold this very well. There we go. See? Calculating cast shadows and all that.
And this looks scary, but it's not as scary.
It looks scary, but it's actually very basic. You're just using triangles. Like, it's just triangulation from a bunch of different points.
That same triangle.
And when you use triangles, you can kind of shorthand stuff. And get out of here. Get out of here. No.
What is it doing?
Wacom was trying to update. But anyways,
I was on the wrong one. There we go.
In reality, like, shadows aren't all that difficult if you understand light travels in a straight line, and if an object is blocking the light, it creates a shadow. That's it. And so just practicing assignments, like rendering assignments and all that teach you how to do that, then you'll be able to wing it much better, like correctly, or at least close enough that it's believable.
So walk me through this real quick, because I never really calculated shadows that much, and you know how to do it. So let's say if I want my light to be here.
Yeah.
all I have to do is.
You just use this line, right?
Yep.
So the light is traveling a direction, like north, south, east, and west. And then, like, you know, this way. Like, this is the ground. The light is traveling some direction on the ground. It could be going from here to here. From what yours is doing, it looks like it's kind of going from, like, in that direction, right?
Yep.
So you have an angle that it's coming in, and you have an angle that it's traveling on the ground. And that creates a triangle. And all you do is take that triangle and pull it off of every single corner. Like that. Like that, right? You use draw through. Like that. And it creates that. And that's your shadow.
Wow.
It's pretty simple. You just have to do the practice a lot of times. It's triangulation, because light, like each corner of the box is like a point where it's blocking the light.
There's a lot.
But like, there's no really easy answer. Like, what's the best way to practice shadows? It's like, in theory, it's very simple. It's like, if the light is being blocked, then there's a shadow. Duh. But then actually practicing that to be able to draw it, because there's like a lot to it, right? There's form shadows, there's cast shadows, there's shadows that are, you know, cast onto other objects. And for a sphere / circle, for a sphere, a shadow would look like this. The light is coming down, and where it becomes perpendicular, that's where your core shadow starts, right? So say, for example, this is a sphere. What is this? Misaki sent manifesting. That looks like a Baldur's Gate move. What is this? Thank you very much, Misaki.
Thank you, Misaki. That's
Appreciate
so sweet.
Appreciate it. Manifesting Aki art for your birthday. Are you bribing? Are you trying to bribe us? So the light is coming in, right? Let's say it's like going away from us here, right? There's my light direction. It is going to hit this ball at a certain part all around it. And then you're just going to have a lit side, and a shadowed side of the ball, like that, right? You'll have this part right there. You'll have a cast shadow that comes off of it, you know, whatever, like that kind of thing. This is like the demo that I do all the time, right? You could have some ambient occlusion underneath. You could have your penumbra over here. Like, you can add more and more, but it doesn't matter if you add more if like the first part isn't right.
Guess who's coming over?
Hello there.
Hello there, sir.
You're rubbing against my pen again. You want to lay on my hand, don't you? Look at this.
Look at this little monstrosity.
Same thing with the cylinder. Light comes down. Hey,
no.
Oh, you don't backsass. Right? And the light comes and it becomes perpendicular to this.
He's purring and stuff.
He is. The light becomes perpendicular to this, and where it becomes perpendicular is where your shadow side starts. So you have a lit side and a shadow side, right? And then this comes out and down. And this is your shadow down here. So it kind of looks like that. Right? And the first thing that we want to do is separate our light and dark. So what is in the light and what is in the shadow before we worry about, oh, the rendering and fanciness, right? Because there's going to be a core here. There's going to be ambient occlusion down here. There's going to be ambient occlusion down here. There's going to be bounce light coming up. There's probably going to be maybe like a little turning edge depending on your object. And oh, look, it's a rendered cylinder. But the thing that a lot of people get wrong about rendering, or I would say the thing that a lot of people don't realize about rendering is, like, step one is you separate light and shadow. And then step 2 is you add the other stuff, which is like the rendering part. Because if you haven't separated light and shadow correctly, rendering is going to look pretty terrible usually.
Yeah.
It's not going to look that well a lot of the time. Right? You have to separate what's in light, what's in shadow,
and then add the transitions afterwards.
Exactly. And it's literally the same thing for like this kind of stuff as well. I have separated light and dark. Generally, it's light and shadow, but like a light object, like a white flower in the dark, could actually be lighter than a dark object in the light, value-wise. So separating light and dark is not just light and shadow, it's also considering the local value of something. Like, do I have something that's black or something that's white? And that's going to affect the value of it in the light. So this gets into like, a little bit more complicated stuff, but number one is you gotta know how to separate light and shadow. Because everything else comes after that. People are really, really, really obsessed with rendering, and they always forget to do their blending and everything. But remember what happens before blending. Noton, separating things into your little buckets, going from 2 values to 4 values to full color, that sort of thing.
What teacher or source gave you the most insight on calculating shadows?
I took a class in FZD where we had to render a whole lot. Let me think. I've taught calculating shadows so many times. I don't remember what class I took that was the most helpful.
I think a lot of things you also kind of figured out on your own, right?
Yeah. Like, just through looking at books and learning and stuff like that. It was probably my FZD class on lighting. And then teaching it so many times, is like every single time you're doing a practice assignment correctly because you have to teach it right.
Yeah.
How do you render after separating light and shadow? You add bounce light and ambient occlusion and some subtle gradients. That's not hard at all. That's really the easy part. But the problem is people's renderings look terrible when they first separate their light and shadow and then destroy their light and shadow by adding a whole bunch of bounce light and gradient. So how to render is by not wrecking the thing you just made. Bounce light is like light reflecting off of surrounding things, yes. And reflected light does not affect the light and dark as much as you want it to. And dark objects reflect less, light objects reflect more. Understanding that, if you've got a white piece of paper, it's going to bounce a lot of light. And if you have, say, a blue piece of paper, like a navy blue piece of paper or like a dark blue piece of paper, it's not going to reflect very much light. So you'll see in Christina's demo yesterday, a lot of reflected light. That's why all the shadows are not very dark, right? Christina's got a light blue background. There is a lot of fill light going in there, whether it's reflected or it's simply just like the sky. You can see that Miko's shadows do not get very dark. As opposed to June, where she is in a dark environment, so she's just not getting as much bounce light. So she's not getting tons and tons of fill light from everywhere. And Christina's even got a secondary blue light in here. You can see it reflecting in the hair.
Yep.
It's like just considering things like that is really, really, important.
Like, something that I'll think about is shadows, especially with like bounce light, is kind of like taking on the flavor of the environment, right? Like this, for example. I'm trying to find a way that's with shadow, but it doesn't look odd. If I place like a green by the oh, that'll be perfect. Yeah. Look at that.
See, watch. I got a Rubik's Cube here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got my phone flashlight. And I'm going to shine my phone on the Rubik's Cube. Look at all that yellow.
Look at all that bounce.
Showing up in the shadow of the face there. Right?
Wow.
Tons and tons of yellow. I'll flip it to the red side. Look at that. Bunch of red in the shadow. Like that. I'll flip it to the green side. Look at all that green. Here, like, do this. There.
Sure. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. Yep. The green will fill in the shadows.
Look at all that green, right? Look at all that orange shining in there. So I'm shining the light at the Rubik's Cube, and then the Rubik's Cube is bouncing light into there. It's like, that's bounce light.
Or it's like, even if
the light on the phone is not green or yellow or orange, but it bounces the light into it.
It's like, notice that the lit side feels like just the same color, but the shadow has changed.
Yeah, there you go. It's not a lot of blue.
Yep.
It's a little bit, but it's not a
it's
lot.
Influencing it. See, like without it, with it. Without it, with it.
Yeah, and so, like, when it comes to rendering, again, the most important thing is separating your lights and your darks, because that's, like, what holds your entire image together. That is the image. The image is the lights and the darks. What you decide to do with them afterwards is not as important, as long as you don't wreck your lights and darks. And so the number one rendering problem that people have, why you get muddy values, is because the light and the dark is being destroyed. That is what muddy values is. It is when lights are getting into the darks that shouldn't be there, and darks are getting into the lights that shouldn't be there, and it's getting disrupted. And then people go, oh, it's muddy. It's not a color issue. It is a value issue of not keeping the glasses separate. It's like, imagine you have like a glass of, like, you know, I don't know, green juice and red juice, and you start pouring them into each other back and forth. They'll become all mixed together. Keep your glasses separate.
Yep.
You can decide how much of each is in the glasses, but if you start mixing them together, that's when everybody goes, oh, that's muddy.
And then we'll be
And
like,
everybody
well, maybe
thinks it's a rendering problem, but it's not.
Right.
Muddy values is not really a rendering problem. It's a keeping the glasses separate problem.
Yep.
Like if Christina started going in here and going...
Well, actually, one of the mistakes is anytime I see a light, oh, I'm using that brightest light, and I'll be like, oh, what happened to my values? Like, they're all not the same anymore.
If Christina started going in and doing that, the whole thing's disrupted.
Yeah. So it's like keeping a delicate balance. Like, what is in your shadows stays in your shadows. What is in your light stays in your light.
Yeah.
Right? Like, even if you do see, like, some kind of shadow in the edge, like, if you, the more you accentuate it, it's just too powerful. So you have to go like, really, really subtly.
And what determines the lights and the darks? It is a mixture of the surfaces that are in light and in shadow, and how you decide to design them. Because there's a lot of flexibility. Like, the light could be placed anywhere. It could be placed above. It could be placed on the right, on the left, on the bottom. But it will create certain shapes, and you can't disrupt those shapes.
Yeah.
That's the hard part, right? Is like, if you disrupt the shapes that you don't even know how to create in the first place, it's muddy.
Mm-hmm.
Light interacting with objects creates shapes, right? If there was no light, everything would be black. We wouldn't be able to see anything. And it's like, well, duh. It's like no light equals no see. So the only way we can see is because of light. But there's a lot of different kinds of lights, right? If there's a person, like, if you had this head, right? And you shined a light on it from below, you'd still be able to tell it was this head. Although different planes would be lit. The bottom of the chin would be lit, the bottom of the nose, maybe the bottom of the brow ridge, the head, the top of the head would be in shadow, but you'd still be able to tell it was this head.
Yeah.
Right? Where's my
handy dandy flashlight?
handy dandy flashlight? Right? If I light this from below, you can still tell it's the head. Even though if you look at the actual shapes, they're completely different. Like the light and dark shapes are different. You got a big shadow on the neck that's like wrapping around it. If I light it from this side, the shapes are completely different again, but you can still tell it's the head. If I light it from above, the shapes are different, but you can still tell it's the head.
It's all the shapes combined together.
Yeah,
create the
it's
head.
like shape, an individual shape is very abstract, but shapes put together, you can tell what they are. Like if I just took the lip side of the cheek and took it out and isolated it, you wouldn't be able to tell what it was probably. But it's like the shapes only make sense when you can see them together within context to each other. And I know it's getting a little bit into like theory, but that's really how we see things.
Sometimes I'll just see like the face is just all shrouded in shadow except for like, and it'll create this shape.
Yeah.
But it's like you can kind of still tell that this could be a face.
You know,
Well, maybe or maybe not.
draw more of it.
Yeah, draw more of it. And then, you can say, okay, well, maybe the lips kind of pop out like that. Now it looks even more like a face. And you add ears in the shadows and like, oh yeah, that looks even more like a face.
Yeah, but like any individual one of these shapes on its own it's very abstract. A lot of the time you can't even tell what it is. It's only when the shapes are put together that they start to make sense.
Yeah.
So like your ability to get these shapes is going to be directly correlated with like your ability to paint. Your ability to make things like look good and real and interesting. It's a very abstract concept. So, you know,
Right.
if you're totally lost, that's fine.
Like this isn't really necessarily, I can't really call that a face. Like even though this shape is like, okay, the brow ridge and like the bottom of the eye socket, and here's like the nose, like I still can't tell that this is a face until you add like extra shadows that blend these forms together and say like, okay, now you start like carving with shadow and light, and now you're like, okay, well that feels a bit more familiar.
How do you draw perspective? What about it do you want to know? 'Cause perspective is a pretty broad subject. Warm-up exercises. Yeah, there's a lot of good warm-up exercises out there. Warm-up to what? Like what? Just warming up in general? You know, you can draw noodles. There's so many different exercises. I would say I'm a really big fan of exercises that get you to draw curves and things in a bunch of different directions. So for example, you can draw like a tube of some sort or a noodle, right? You can even do that. And then you can draw S curves over it like this, wrapping lines. Wrapping lines. This is a good exercise. And I really like it when you are forced to draw S curves in all different kinds of directions. Like, oh, now this S curve is going up and around.
Up and around.
It's like a good wrist exercise, right? And then you can do it the opposite way.
And guess
Come here.
what? It's a rope.
Yeah.
You can turn it into anything.
Exactly. And lots of things mimic this. This is a great warm-up exercise.
Christelle. I love that name. I never heard of that name before. I want that. Tips on capturing likeness, like how to match proportions to a reference.
There we go. I haven't really studied likeness capturing all that much.
Yeah, me neither.
But generally, as far as I know, it's like looking for rhythms, looking for features, like identifying features, prominent features that you can kind of latch onto and use as a reference point. So here's another one you can do. You go straight to straight, right? So you come off and you wrap around and you go straight. And you can start and end anywhere, but the idea is that you basically want to pull off and end kind of parallel with the outside of the circle. This is a really good exercise as well. Straight to straight.
You're basically like creating a yarn ball in a way.
Yeah, it's kind of like a yarn ball. Like that. There you go. You don't have to go to the opposite side, although it's, you know, it's not a bad idea to do that here and there. Like that. That's another good exercise. There is the old faithful exercise, which is you draw a vertical line, you draw a dot, and you do S curves through it. And you make those S curves nice and crazy. Try to make every line you can. Like, what if this one went like that? What if this one went like this? So you start on the other side. This is a great exercise. It just helps you build your ability to draw like conscious lines. So like if you're drawing hair or something, here's another exercise. If you pull off and come down here and you come up and go down there, like your brain is basically going, this is not a random line, right? Like if I drew two dots and kind of just drew lines to it, I'm not aiming at anything. So this exercise really helps you like make conscious decisions about like where you're coming from and where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps your ability to like draw conscious thinking lines. Like you'll draw less
coordination.
Yeah, you'll draw less and less and less lines that have no purpose whatsoever, or like that don't consider the flow. And you can mix up and make a variation of any of these exercises, by the way. I like exercises that kind of loosen me up, and I also like exercises that help me to make like specific conscious decisions.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Nana.
You know, you can do it like this. And like this.
Ooh.
You know, you try to hit it. Doesn't really matter if you miss. It's just an exercise. Like that. Like that. You can put one down here. See? Just helps you make like, think about the lines that you're drawing. It's like one of the biggest difficulties of an artist is how to think while you draw. Like, have you ever noticed that when you draw, you like your brain shuts down and you wake up on the other side of a finished drawing that you don't like? Like that's hard. It's hard to like get out of that, right?
It's like you disassociate.
Yeah, it's like every single time you put a line down, at the beginning of the line you're hit with a spell of like confusion, mind blank, and then when you finish the line, you wake back up and you're like, I'm not so sure about that. Right? That's like one of the most difficult beginner problems. Like you look back at your old work and you're just like, what was I thinking? Oh yeah, I wasn't. And it's like a skill.
Or it's like you delude yourself.
Yeah, it's like you build the skill.
But it's like, I don't think that those things can be avoided.
No,
you know? Like,
it's just part of the process.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, when people ask like, oh, well, what's the best way to do this, or what's the best way to learn? I think, like, or they'll try to be like, well, what's the best way to avoid bad habits?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can. You're bound to run into those kind of problems regardless of like how much you try to like avoid it.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's just because it's the part of learning.
I think another good exercise is like a form drawing exercise. So like you draw a random shape or a couple of random shapes, like maybe, you know, some blobs, and you start drawing form lines around it.
Mm-hmm.
Really try to feel it. Like, where does it go? Where is it coming from? Where is it going? You know, maybe actually you can even start with a center line. See? Center line. And let's put a center line there, right? So there's our center line. And you can put form lines around it. Really try to feel that volume. We can even put a and coming around it from that way. See? Good exercise to practice like dimensional drawing. Now what we can do is maybe this time we look at the top of it and we go, here's a center line.
Oh.
Maybe this one comes down and out. It doesn't really work right, does it? That's better. Maybe this comes out and it's got like this. Maybe we'll even modify this silhouette a little bit to kind of show. It's got like a nub on the top.
Oh, that's fun. Cute little button.
Yeah.
That's very like industrial designy.
It is.
You know?
Form drawing is just one of the most important things to practice, especially if you want to do anything with characters, if you want to do anything with backgrounds, objects, literally anything that exists in 3D space. Right? You just practice making blobs and adding form lines to them.
What is the best way to practice shape design like big, medium, and small?
Like studying the real world, building your visual library is really good because like study real objects, draw them, break them down with simple volumes. Like your designs are going to become much more believable when you understand and like recognize which shapes tend to show up in the real world. For sure, that's a great way. Like form drawing exercises, like you can take a character, for example, and you go, okay, so we've got a character, and let's say, I don't know, he looks like this, right? Let's put the legs, and you know, here's some feet, and let's say maybe the head is this shape with a hat on top. It's just like some random example, right? Shape language. This is a great assignment. A lot of people give this assignment. You'll take this in all kinds of classes, right? And you measure out these proportions. So you go, here's the proportions of these like important things, right? Here's the bottom of the shirt. There's the end of the arms. Here's this. Here's the bottom of the head. Here's the top of the hat. And then you take all of these chunks, you know, A, B, C, D, E, F, and you mix them up. And you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe the hat's really big. And B is pretty small. And C is also pretty small. And you know, let's just say D to the end of E is also pretty small. And then let's say the last one is like quite long. This is an assignment you'll get in so many different classes. It's really good.
You know, I actually never got that assignment.
Okay. And so we've got A.
Another cough drop.
And here's the hat. We can just draw like a quick little line of symmetry. Quick little line of symmetry. And we go, here's the hat. And here's the head, right? Here's that hat. Here's the head. Maybe we'll bring this down a little bit. So it comes out like that. And there's the neck. Here's the top of the shirt. And it's like the same shape. Right? And here's the legs. And so check this out. We're going to go.
Yep. Oh, wow.
Right. Right? And we'll make the arms like that. And so there's like version A, and then you would do this a whole bunch of different times, and you know, you'd come in here probably and be like, you know, know, you could have specific shape language. So maybe like this guy's shape language is kind of like triangular and pokey. So a lot of his features are very pokey. So we'll make this pokey, right? We'll make this pokey. We'll, instead of circles, we'll make them triangles. His head, we'll make it triangular maybe. The hat, maybe instead of like bowing out, it bows in. Maybe we'll put like a little star at the top.
That's fun.
This is like a very common shape language exercise that forces you to like disrupt your tendencies and your habits. Right? We could put some sort of, I don't know.
Fishnet?
I don't know, maybe.
Okay. That's fun. Balloon guy from Ocarina of Time. I've never seen Ocarina.
And so you do this, and you take a design, and you design it with like shape language in mind, right? Like, is it a... And you take this, and you go, okay, I'm going to make a round version of it. And so it could be like... There's that, and maybe the head kind of looks like...
Pear.
Like that, right? And the hat could be like...
Oh.
Could be like this. And how do we make this round instead? Okay, well, let's bring this in and let's not have it pointy, and let's have these like that, and let's make the arms more round, right? And we'll make the legs more round. Maybe this one has like really stubby legs. Maybe this hat, I don't know. Maybe this one's like much... Right, and keep an eye on this stuff that you decided before and the proportions, and try to vary them and make them different. If you take like a shape language class in like Brainstorm or Art Center, this is literally what they're having you do for like weeks. It's like disrupting your tendencies by forcing yourself to design differently. Hands down one of the best ways to learn shape language, but I would also recommend doing studies of like real world stuff. This is more along the lines of like design / concept art stuff. So, you know, you might not see this if you're taking like an illustration class or something. This is much more design.
Would you say working with silhouettes and just kind of playing with that also helps a lot for shape language?
Working with silhouette, yeah. Hey, there's that exercise we were doing earlier, remember? Zoop.
Yep.
Zoop. Except we can use it on the hat. You can also have like an interior and an exterior shape language, by the way. So like exterior, triangle, interior, circle. And so we could go, all of the interior shapes are circular.
Oh.
Like this. Right? The nose, the eyes, circular. Circular. Circle, circle. You know, shapes inside of here. Maybe we can make this like an S curve. We could have this as like a circle.
Well, you can also repeat certain motifs and shapes too. That could be kind of fun.
Right, this can be a circle. Not a circle, a triangle. So you can create characters and stuff, and the variations that you'll make are like, look at these, look at the comparison between just this character right here and this character right here and make like a whole lineup of like 5, 6, 7,
Aw.
10 characters.
They look like little Christmas elves. I don't know. They kind of feel like that. Those things to me.
Right, let's make this
Garden
one like
fairies?
this.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Do you think art has rules?
It has tendencies. I don't really think it has rules. I don't remember what Devin Corwin said. He said
Principles.
something. Yeah, there's like principles. You know, I think people can do whatever they want with their art, but I think there's very reliable ways to understand the human brain and what it tends to prefer. There, we can give...
What's a tip you could give if I want to start doing character design or prop design?
this.
Yep.
I mean, you know, learn your foundations. Get good at figure drawing and gesture drawing, form drawing. Anatomy's not as important as you think it is, or as people tend to think it is. If you want to start doing character design, search further than Instagram and artists. Take inspiration from the real world and what inspires you with your life or wherever. Right? And then I would use like find like some sort of real reference for this here.
I think they are very cute too. Oh, is that a little mustache on him?
Yeah.
Aww. Oh my gosh, I love them.
Yeah, like you want to design interesting characters, force yourself to think in a different way. Like take their proportions and mix them up. You know, I'm not in any way a great character designer in terms of shape language, but like I understand the process to it. If you want to make these people feel like they're on the same team, you can give them different, you know, design elements that are similar. And like this design can then be further explored in 3D, and you can actually make a pose. You know, like you can, like these designs, like they're just suggestions of what you could do. Now you could take this out and actually design this out in 3D with your principles of, you know, what makes a pose look interesting, and you already have the design done.
That's cool. RDM says, I will make Miki as a Chikawa character.
That's
That'd be
funny.
kind of funny.
Right, and you can go into your form drawing and start sketching out. Maybe they have maybe the nose is like, maybe this person actually has a pointy nose.
Ooh, pointy nose.
You know, keep in mind your center line. But anyways, that's how I would say, you know, a good way to practice shape language. Big, medium, small. Consciously mixing things up, changing the proportions. So like, you know, A, B, C, D, E. That's fun.
Yeah. He looks like a corn, so I made his hat like kind of corn shaped. You know what has like really fun shape language, which anime has? Ranking of Kings. Ranking of Kings has very interesting looking characters.
Yeah, it really does.
They definitely don't go by like normal like anime. I don't know, like beauty standards. But, you know, they're just really cool. Very fresh take on art and styles and stuff. When designing characters in a group, should I make them match or fit each other or not?
That's entirely based on what you want the character group to feel like.
Mm-hmm. I'd say, like...
Entirely based on, like, what the point of the characters is.
Yeah.
Are they a ragtag team of randoms who were thrown together in a funny way, or are they magical girls who are all part of the same team and we're all blessed with the same magical gear or similar magical gear?
I was just about to say magical girls too.
You know, are they fairies that build that are they warrior fairies that build their armor out of the same stuff? That's like playing with storytelling and stuff.
I think, like, if you want things to feel like a series, then, you know, make them relate to each other in some way. That's what you want. Like, for instance, like our friend group characters in our book and in our brand, you know, they are meant to kind of be like a set. So they will all have a very similar kind of vibe.
Well, they go to the same school.
They go to the same school, exactly.
Which has a dress code.
Mm-hmm, which has a dress code.
And so in that case, absolutely, you're going to have...
some, like, they're going to have to look the same in some ways.
Apple.
Apple? But, like, you know, you can even think of it like, if they are meant to be... If they're all created by, like, the same designer, like, let's say in your story, there's, like, a god that created everything, and the god, like, has his own, I don't know, design language, and all the creatures that live in that world have a similar design feel, whether if it's like a different creature or not, like they'll all have like similar things, like you can connect them that way. That's just like storytelling and lore, as Colton said.
Yeah.
Or it's like if you have like multiple gods in your story and they all have a different design sense, then it's like you gotta have to argue like they're very different designs too. I think giving him like these kind of pants would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, we're gonna go live probably every day this week, but we're gonna do a little bit shorter. Shorter live, probably like 2 hours. Mixing it up for the new year, seeing if we enjoy that more.
Yeah. You know, I mean, like, it kind of takes a while. It takes a lot of effort to stream for so long, you know?
Does it? I don't think it does.
You don't?
Not really. Like, I got bored sometimes. I feel like shorter streams tend to have more fun, more of the good stuff, and longer streams.
I think longer streams
sometimes they drag on for a really long time.
Yeah. I would say, like, maybe I should have said it, like, it's harder to keep the energy up with a longer stream than it is a shorter one.
Unless we specifically get into something or plan something.
Okay, cute little elf. But I think, like, you know, kind of going back to the shape language topic, you know, like you can say, like, when you're working on your design, you can think, okay, are my shapes distributed in a way that feels good? Like, how many small shapes are there? How many medium shapes are there? How many shapes within shapes? Like, you can see that with this design here. You know, within this whole, like, just this head, there's, like, a bunch of variety of shapes. There's, like, you know, these kind of medium, you know, kind of larger shapes, like the head, for example. This is all, like, a combined shape. You know, then there's this piece, which is, like, the hat. But then within these two main bits, there's, like, smaller shapes within it that can unify. So, like, now you split this main shape into, let's say, 1, you know, 2, 3, you know, 4 shapes. And now that breaks it up. And then this one you can simplify, or not simplify, you can break it up into these medium shapes here. I mean, like, these really, really tiny shapes could be pink. So, like, when you see, like, a lot of, this looks horrifying, but when you see, like, the different varieties that you have in your design looks less bland. So, I think that's kind of interesting.
But you want to go too far with this, by the way, because otherwise there is not going to be any unity to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it is definitely good to have a mixture of big, medium, and small shapes. Don't vary things so much to the point where it feels like there's no unity. And the design, like, what you're trying to design is going to determine how much wiggle room you have.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, if it's a raider that makes his armor out of scraps, you're probably going to have more wiggle room than if it's a very specific, I don't know, like, design for a royal knight or something that has a really specific shape language. So, again, it's like story kind of trumps all. Like, what does the story call for? What do you want to do with your character? This is kind of an interesting shape.
Yeah. Any proportion tips for drawing kid characters?
Study how other people draw kid characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are the proportions?
Yeah. Like, something that I'll notice for when people draw like kid characters, you know, is the kid character will have a large head, but their bodies will be, you know, much less developed.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll also be smaller, and their head will be much more bigger, you know, ratio with their body than like an adult. So, like, they'll literally shrink the kid's body, make the head bigger, and they'll actually, like, make the rib cage and all these, like, different limbs and stuff, like, much, like, wider as well to fit the cute aesthetic. So, like, you know, kids have a lot of, like, baby fat. Well, some. Most kids will, you know, kind of get rid of it later. But, like, you want them to feel cute, right? So make them feel round. You know, no broad shoulders, right? Unless they're, like, what, Krillin or Gohan. But, like, softer shoulders. I'm just saying this is more of like a generic kid body type. So softer arms, not a lot of muscle, not a lot of definition. Sometimes they'll even have like bigger bellies because of like their physique. Right. You'll notice that their bodies are much shorter as well. But like the proportions of like the body is like relatively pretty similar to like an adult, but it's just, how do I say it? It's not that the body just physically gets smaller. Like there's definitely some changes. There's like, you know, how wide the rib cage and the pelvis is in comparison to the rest of the body. Like with an adult male, for example, you know, you'll see more of this shape in the torso. You see longer legs in comparison. But with the kid, it's just chubbier. Right? This doesn't look like a kid.
Not unless you put a larger head on it.
That's true. But
I
let
mean,
me
it
see.
can totally look like a kid based on the rest of the context.
Yeah, I mean, actually, yeah, that can work as well. But if I put a smaller head, now it doesn't look so...
It's like... a lot of it is going to be context.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on in the story? Like, what are the other characters? What is the environment? What is their outfit? What does their face look like in a lot of cases?
Mm-hmm. But then there, kids also come in many different shapes and sizes. There's like kids that are like really, really lanky and very tall, with very narrow torsos, big head, and you could call that a kid. They're like the shy one, the shy nerd student. And then the more stocky kid. I'm just kind of running out of room now. Not really running out of room, I'm just putting in a weird corner. Maybe this kid is maybe perhaps chubbier, but like they're stockier. So maybe they like wrestling. But like because their head is bigger than their body, or not bigger than their body, their head is considerably bigger in comparison, it still feels kid-like. And we cover like child body types and stuff in our books as well, so you can see like the multitude of body types we have in there. So like here's like the strong kid, here's the shy kid, here's like the stocky kid. It's fun. Oh.
What?
I'm just drawing a face and I felt bad for this kid. He looks cute.
You feel bad for him.
Well, like, I don't know. He looks so like worried, He's like, oh no, am I gonna get bullied? He looks like unconfident and you kind of feel bad for him a bit. Let's give him long sleeves. Hello, Hannah. How can I draw different body shapes, just like different torsos and limb sizes?
Someone said before that, how do I draw heads? I always have to redo it like 15 times before it looks right. I mean, a lot of it is just going to come down to keep practicing, but try to find a method for drawing heads that you like. A lot of people will just kind of start with a circle. They'll draw a center line on it, like from a front view. Then they'll decide how long the chin is going to be. Like, kind of eyeball it with where that is, where the jaw is. You can start with something like that. I find that the eyes tend to be right here. When I try to place the eyes on an anime head, I think, where is the eye socket? Like, when you're drawing a real head, you tend to have like an eye socket, right? And it comes out and in and out and down, sort of like that, right? And the eyes are in like here, right? I try to find like visually where that is on an anime head, because like, okay, well, the cranium comes down and like here's sort of the cheek, and I know that the eyes probably should be in this area because of the eye socket, right? So, and then you can just kind of look at it and go, are they too high? Like, do they look kind of too high? Do they look too low? Like, they're probably not going to be here. Mm-hmm. They're probably not going to be here, which means they're probably going to be within, I don't know, this range. You just chuck them in the middle. Should be good, right? Maybe a little bit lower. Yeah. That should work.
Unless they have 6 pairs of eyes.
Yeah.
3 pairs of eyes.
So it's like, and then whatever eye you want to draw, it really doesn't matter. Right? You can draw eyes like that.
Ooh.
You can draw, I don't know. You can draw eyes like that, like really small.
But they're in a good placement, not too high, not too
Yeah.
low.
When it comes to drawing heads like at an angle, right? When it comes to drawing heads at an angle, it's sort of the same method. You can start with a circle. Now it's a sphere. You decide how far over it is, and I like to run this kind of sphere down and pop a cheek out of it like that.
Yeah.
And you'll get a feel for it. Like this cheek can be, or this chin can be longer, it can be shorter. Just go, okay, it kind of comes down like, I don't know, an extra, maybe a little bit more than a third. Get a feel for it as you practice. Colton teaching anime.
Crazy.
Right? And then again, this is back in. So we're drawing 3-dimensionally. We're bringing this back in. We're bringing this out. Of course, this is kind of like your generic modern anime style. Right? Here's that brow ridge. Here's the top of it. Here's the cheekbone that comes out. And the eyes are generally going to be inside of there. You can draw whatever kind of eyes you want. It doesn't really matter. Now, when you draw the eyebrow, again, this comes out and goes in and comes out. And so the eyebrow, when the head is turned, think about it, right? If I have a, I don't know, if I have a, like a surface like this, right? And I draw a circle on this, and I draw a circle up here. This circle and this is not a circle, but this circle, this one up top is kind of going to be pushed further that way, right? Because of the cross section of this form. If I look at this from straight, like if I take this same exact form right here and I look at it from straight, it's just going to look like a rectangle. It's going to look like this. Mm-hmm. And the bottom circle is going to be right here. And the top circle is going to be right here. But if I look at this from a 3/4 view, this top circle is going to be pushed forward more. That's what happens with eyebrows. So this eyebrow will come out and the eye will kind of get pushed back more. And that's that dimensional, kind of like dimensional part, right? You can do something along the lines of that. Just remember, like when you're rotating things, think about this pushing and pulling and all that. I don't really like this too much.
I feel like that feels better.
Yeah, there we go.
Sorry.
We'll just do something like this. Something simple.
Oh, that's good. I've seen people use grayscale to color digitally, but I don't know how to get from grayscale to color.
It's very easy, but the bad news is your grayscale has to be right, and that's the part that most people can't do.
I would say it's like, instead of seeing color, you see black and white.
Yeah.
And then you turn it into color later on.
Grayscale is a good method for people, like people who start in grayscale could generally also start in color. They're just starting in grayscale maybe because they want to focus on a particular thing or a particular effect or something. How do I just color over it?
Well, like, let's say if you want to color over that rendered cylinder. I mean, you would do the same thing.
Yeah, if I want to color over this rendered cylinder, you know, maybe I'll make a new layer so we can go back and forth. You know, could do that. Bounce light. Maybe my bounce light's warm.
But the value is still the same.
You know.
So just keep in mind of that. Like,
this is like a metal cylinder, so I would have to change the I'd have to change the material or render it like metal. You know, maybe we want to come in here and make it a lot cooler. That's how I would color over it in grayscale.
I mean, some people use like what gradient maps or colorize or whatever.
Yeah, you could use a gradient map. The same exact thing is going on in your brain though. Like a gradient map is not gonna work if you don't know like how temperature. Gradient maps are a very hard tool for people to use who don't like, I don't know what they're doing or aren't good at rendering or don't know any of that stuff. Like that's how I would color it. Like I would literally just pick the same values.
Sometimes what I'll do is,
or just lasso it.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll just tint it just to get a starting point. Like I'll use like color balance.
Yep. You could just tint it. So say we come in here. And just go.
Oh, it's selected on something.
Oh, it's selected on something. I could hit colorize. There it goes. And change the color. I could lock the layer. Choose a color. And draw on top. It's all different ways to do the same thing. But this is the problem. This has no color variation to it. It is just a single flat color of red. So I'll go back in here and I'll go, maybe I'll go a little bit cooler. And make the shadows a little bit cooler. Down in here. Maybe I'll give this warm bounce light. You know, maybe I'll come back up here. Bring some of that red back. See, I added some color, temperature, and variation to it and all that. Like, it's really just, there's a bunch of different ways to do the exact same thing. It's, the way to get there may be a little bit different, but the mental process, the thing that's going on in the head is exactly the same every time. Yep. Which is, what is my lights warm? Is my shadows cool? What is the local value of the cylinder itself? What is the material of the cylinder? Like all of these things are the same decisions that are being made. There's nothing new that's happening with any of these. It's just the technique that's used to get there is a little bit different.
Yeah.
And it can give a little bit different effects, but it's the same thought process the whole time. So like there's no hack. There's no starting in grayscale does not like. The problem is when people start with grayscale is when they move to color, they wreck the problem they solved in grayscale. Like I was saying it earlier on the stream, right? Is like that is the number one thing. Is like if I turn this black and white again, right? Let's just say, let's actually do this. Oops. Control copy and paste, right? So we'll just do that, right? And then I'll line them up in the right spot, bring it back. So turn it off, turn it on. Here's my color version. Here's my grayscale version. If I turn this black and white, see how they both maintain the same elements? Color, grayscale. Color, grayscale. Color, and black and white, grayscale. Like I still got my core shadow, I got my bounce. B-O-U-N-C-E. I got my AO. I got my cast. I got my core.
The structure is all there.
I got my light. I got my turning edge. You know, I've got this side, which is basically also in shadow. Every single one of those things is still there, even though I turned it into color. So when a lot of the time when people color from a grayscale, they lose all of these things or some of them, and now they're just like, when I do it in grayscale, it looks fine, but when I do it in color, it doesn't. It's because these things are not being retained. They're being destroyed in the process of coloring. And that's why I really recommend to learn a good process, like the one that I teach in my painting class in our anime art school, or you can take an oil painting class from a teacher who, you know, knows what they're doing and starts with something like notan or simple value structure, going to 4 values. Like, I colorized this. This is what I painted, and then I painted on top and went to color. But I did it very simply. I literally just took my grayscale and I just straight up
chose a value.
Used the basic round brush. Not that one. This one. And I literally just colored it red.
And just made sure that that red was the same value.
And then I came over here and I colored it red.
I think
and I came down here and I went, oh, much cooler shadow.
Yeah.
Darker. And I colored it like that. Same exact mental process, right? And I went, lemon. This lemon in the light gonna be pretty warm. Or yeah. Lemon in the shadow, probably gonna be cooler. Let's cool it down. Take it towards gray. Lemon with bounce light. Ooh, very warm. It's getting red.
Ooh.
Boop. Ooh, here's more of that shadow. Cool. You know, here's the tablecloth. Pale yellow. I painted this thing like 5 times, so I remember the colors of it usually. Right? Pale yellow. Oh, the shadow. Paler, darker yellow. Right? We can blend a little bit of this together. We can sculpt this shape of the lemon out just a little bit more. A little bit of bounce light down here.
Do you guys have any tips for coloring the face? It's the same. It's basically the same concept.
Right? That's literally how I colored this piece. And then I go core. Put a core there. This lemon over here is going to be the same. So it's like I'm coloring a black and white image. I could have used colorize. I could use a gradient map. I could use anything. The thought process is the same, right? Warm light hitting a lemon. Very warm. Very warm. Lemon in the shadow. Cooler. Well, I'm not going to go towards green. My lemon's not going to turn green in the shadow. I'm going to go, what's cooler than yellow? Well, gray is cooler than yellow. Gray in the shadow. Much, much grayer. Except when this red bounces and hits the lemon in the shadow, it's still going to be that same value. See? I haven't chosen an orange that's wrecking my values, but it's definitely a lot warmer because this red, I could even brighten and make this red more vibrant. That feels good. But I'm not choosing something that's a crazy different value. I'm just choosing a more vibrant red, right?
Wow. How do I know how to choose the color in the same value?
Do still life studies. You choose the color in the same value. You get better at it, but just remember, blue is... I misunderstood the question initially. Blue is dark. Yellow is light. Gray is gray. Pretty easy to see the value of gray because it is the value. And you basically just go, if I wanted a blue that was lighter, I couldn't go lighter unless I added white. If I want a yellow darker, I can't go darker unless I add black. And so I go, and another thing is that you'll start to see colors vibrate against each other if they're a similar value. So if I take a pink and I choose a green and I go similar value with green, you'll see that there starts to become like a vibration, right? I should go darker with this green. Maybe a little bit lighter. You can start to feel that this is a bad texture brush for this. Maybe something like that.
Oh, yep, I see it.
See? It's a very similar value. You'll feel that it starts to like break your brain and like vibrate against each other. That's a pretty similar value.
You'll even notice that the color, like in the green, if you turn it in black and white, they'll have like a little dark, slightly dark halo around it.
Yeah, it's just because mixing those two colors in Photoshop, they don't like each other very much.
Yeah.
And so it, but it's not like this.
Yeah.
You get better at it. You do a bunch of painting exercises in practice. You will absolutely get better at doing this. And that's why you can have checks as well. You can check in real life. You can turn this setting on your phone. Check this out, right? Triple click. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, black and white.
Wow.
And now if I go to my camera on my phone,
It's all black
I got
and
a free
white.
black and white filter. If you take a picture, it's in color, but you can look through the viewport of your phone in black and white if you want. You can check stuff. Now, remember, your phone camera sucks. It does not have great exposure, but it can help identify the local values of things. You have to enable the setting, by the way. I don't know what it's called. You just look up like how to turn your phone black and white.
How to make my black and white paintings less flat?
Well, value change is form change. So if something is flat, it probably isn't changing form correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I put a strip here and I choose like a soft brush, or just I color this in with maybe something, I don't know, like this. And I go in to get a soft brush and I
they
do...
can't see that.
Value change is form change.
Wow. Looks like it's going in, moving back and forth.
So like form change, when form falls or rolls away from the light, it changes in value. So your brain knows, right? And especially if you do something like this.
Okay. Ribbons.
And now you're having silhouette change that is consistent with the form change. Right? So your brain is not only getting told this is 3D from the value, it's getting told this is 3D based on the silhouette now too. So you've got two things telling you this is a three-dimensional object. And that's why it tends to look 3D. So a lot of the time when your stuff looks flat, it's like conflicting information. Like you're telling the brain it's three-dimensional, but then you're saying, no, this is not three-dimensional with something else.
It's like contradictory decisions.
Yeah. And many times when people don't know what to do, they'll accidentally make contradictions in their art, and then they're like, this doesn't feel dimensional, or this doesn't feel right. And it's because two things are conflicting. And studying this stuff and learning it will help a lot. Even when you're just winging it. Like, that's the thing, is like when you learn foundation, you'll never really contradict yourself, even when you're just winging it, because you'll know all of these things that just can't happen, right? You'll go, okay, well, this is a warm light and this is a cool shadow, so I'm gonna get a warm highlight. But imagine if you made it a cool highlight on accident. It would be like a contradiction. And you wouldn't accidentally make that mistake. Let's just make it like a cool highlight. Like, you wouldn't really accidentally make that mistake if you know how color and objects interact with like light temperature. So even if you're just winging it and you don't really know the color it's supposed to be, it's not going to be blue. Because if it was, then this would be lit cool, and my whole ball would probably be like more like that.
That's cool.
But and it's the same thing with other stuff, right? Like bounce light. And that's when you can start playing with things and like experimenting and breaking these things, because you're like breaking them in an informed way from a point of like understanding rather than the point of complete guesswork. So I know there's a warm light on this. And so what does that mean? I'm going to get a warm highlight. And I know this is a lemon and it has texture, so I'm probably going to just get something like that.
It looks like a lemon.
Yeah, close enough to a lemon that I can move on to other parts of this image, and I'm not concerned about the future of my lemon's health, my lemon's happiness. Right? And we'll probably get a little bit of AO in here, a little bit of ambient occlusion maybe. You don't really need it. Maybe a little bit, and we can sculpt this lemon and make it the most beautiful lemon you've ever seen. Later, after we do other stuff, right?
When it comes to values for anime art, the value range is low, correct?
Oh, sometimes, not always. Look at like... I wouldn't say the value range is low, because you could have like white and black next to each other. I would say the rendering has been kind of like simplified. The rendering has been simplified. Like, look at a manga. A manga is basically just black and white, right? Look at what Christina was working on.
It depends also like on the subject matter, or it depends on like the surface. Like with pale skin, for example, it won't get like, you will have a lower value range, meaning like it's lower contrast. But with like darker hair or things that are like more medium toned, you'll have more variation in value. So like you'll be able to see more highlights or more darks depending on the subject. With things that are very dark, you probably won't see as much value range. Like for dark things, you'll probably just see more.
I would say it doesn't actually matter. I think anime has much more to do with the proportions than it does the specific value range.
Yeah.
You could render in just black and white, or you could really compress the value range. It's going to be much more easy to tell it's anime because of the proportions of things, like the eyes and the head and the hair and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Like, unless this was like very reflective, you won't really see like super hot highlight. But if it is reflective, then you will see it, and you'll also see, different aspects, like, some reflections and bounce light and stuff. But that, is more like property differences.
What is rendering exactly? Rendering is like, what value do you see on the form as it responds to the light? So for example, like a rendering is like this ribbon right here. The light is coming from above, right? The light is coming from above, and it is hitting this area. It is most perpendicular to this area. It is less perpendicular to this area. It is not perpendicular to this area. This is bouncing up into the shadow and creating bounce light in like this area. Here's a core shadow right here. So rendering is like, show all those things. If I were to make this same ribbon and I were to not render it and it were to just be maybe like cell shaded, I would probably just turn it into 2 values. Right? And maybe go like this. That would probably be something along the lines of like cell shading, but as soon as I start adding this form change in here, you can see that it's like starting to bring that rendering in, because like the form is changing a lot. And it's just, when you have a light source, here's a light bulb. Light travels in a straight line. When it hits a surface that is perpendicular to it at a 90-degree angle, it's receiving 100% of that light, right?
That's the other way.
Yeah, I always draw percent signs the wrong way for some reason. When it hits an object, right? Let's just say if this object was, I don't want that, was rotated like this, it would no longer be hitting this object at a perpendicular angle. It would be hitting it at, say, this angle right here. So it's not receiving 100% of the light, so therefore it's going to be darker. And so on and so forth, right? All the way until it's parallel with it, where it's not receiving any of the light. So this surface has areas that are hitting more and less and not at all, and more and less and not at all. And that's why you see value change. That's like showing that is rendering. That's like my you know, complicated explanation of rendering. It's just the forms are changing values as they respond to the light, and you showing that is rendering. Like you describing that happening is what people would call rendering.
I think rendering just looks complicated just because.
Yes. And rendering actually is not difficult. What's difficult is how do I make the illusion of something without actually rendering all of it? Rendering is not hard. It's not the thing that people think is difficult. Most painters try to avoid rendering because they want to do more weightlifting with less effort, which is actually harder.
Well, I think when everything's just rendered, it's all the same solutions. So
Yes.
it tends to make the artwork look a bit boring.
Yeah, and I don't think I don't think rendering is bad
No,
at
it's
all.
not bad.
I'm just saying that a lot of artists, most artists, like who paint and, you know, get really far along, they try to get less. Like, look at this ribbon, right? I did ribbon A and ribbon B. Ribbon B has everything ribbon A does, except I've used less values. That's like what a lot of people strive to do, is they try to do ribbon B, which is I have one value here and one value here, and I've done everything that ribbon A has, except I've done it more efficiently. Ribbon A has, like, I could even come in here and be like this, you know?
Which,
Maybe
you
get
know,
a
I
little
feel
bit
like
of a soft brush.
the simpler one makes it feel a bit classier.
Exactly.
Because, like, you know, version A, if it's done all the time, it may be showing too much. But then with B, it's, like, more subtle. You're like, oh, like, you're being a bit more sophisticated with how you render and how you organize values.
Yeah, and this really comes into play when you're trying to do something complicated. Like, a ribbon is not complicated, but if you have a bunch of characters interacting with each other, you have a very limited amount of values to show everything you want to show, so people will group to save their resources, and you will dedicate the resources, which is like white to black. You'll dedicate the most resources where you want people to look, and you'll dedicate the least resources where you don't want people to look. And so, like, that's kind of what painters try to do a lot of time, is it's like resource dedication, because it's a very limited thing. And that's why people practice with resource dedication, which is like practicing Noton, practicing 3 and 4 value studies, like this sort of thing.
Limited values.
Limited palette studies. And that gets into like design and developing an art style, which is like how you personally dedicate resources. And there's so much like, there's like so much to it, right? This is a piece by Yu Ming, and you can see his resource dedication. He only really uses like 3 or 4 values in this entire piece, right? He's got like the skin in the shadow, the skin in the light, really dark, and medium. That's how he's used values in this piece, and he's grouped. He's used simultaneous contrast. He's grouped all of this area into one value group, but yet it contains multiple colors. It contains blues, it contains oranges, it contains some yellows.
You know what it's like?
And that's like how he personally approaches this sort of thing.
It's kind of like when you're really broke and you gotta like stretch one piece of meat throughout like 3 people and still make it feel satisfying. It's kind of like that. You're stretching the meat or you're stretching the ingredients to make it last a lot longer.
Yeah. And so you'll see Yuming, he has the shadowed side of the face and the lit side, like stuff that's in light and stuff that's in shadow. And he's gone, you know what? I still want to show that there's a bottom side of the nose. I still want to show that there's a bottom side of the chin. And I still want to show that there's lips. I still want to show that there's a brow ridge. But he's not going to use, he didn't use a value to show it. He used color. So if I turn this black and white, you can see this whole area is one value. And he actually decided to show form change with color rather than value. And so that's like a stylistic choice that he made. And that like contributes to his style for this particular painting, right? Pretty much the whole face in shadow is one value. Like you can see that there's a tiny bit of value change, but I'm talking like value group. Like there's a teeny tiny bit of wiggle room, but not a lot. Certainly much less than like, you know, this to this, or like, you know, this to this, or this to this. And I took his class. He talks about this a lot. He is very, very careful. This is his name, by the way. He's very, very careful with how he utilizes his resources in a painting because it's fun. It's fun to paint that way. It's fun to assign a limited amount of resources. You know, it's like playing a video game with a restriction. Like, you know, can you beat this video game by only using 2 spells? It's kind of like that.
Yeah, that is really
it's
like
a, you know what I mean?
Make an artwork
like,
with only 2 values.
We are limited. We are really limited. But artists will artificially limit themselves even more because more limitations equals more impact a lot of the time. And I find this subject incredibly interesting.
It's always so fun to see.
And it's like a mindset. And so they get all these fundamentals out of the way. They learn how to light, they learn rendering, they learn form drawing, they learn like the graphic design of artwork, they learn color theory. And then they go, now that I've learned all these different fundamentals, I'm going to do like a really restricted painting where I only have blue and orange and a little bit of yellow.
You know, I feel like this piece really feels like a modern, contemporary, like classic art.
Yeah, a
Just
lot of
so
artists,
cool.
a lot of really
cool.
good classical like painters and fine artists follow this guy as well. Although he's more of like he's a digital artist. I think he does some traditional art, but like I mean,
print.
even Robert Lemler really liked this guy's stuff. He's like, oh yeah, that guy's stuff is good, and he's a gallery artist. He doesn't do any digital whatsoever. But
so,
yeah.
We have another question. So then, since rendering is last, does that mean you shouldn't really be showing transitions to the last step in your art?
I wouldn't particularly say rendering is last. I would just say people tend to disrupt their overall read with rendering. Just keep in mind what tends to happen. And by the way, these fundamentals that I'm talking about, like turning edge, light side, core, bounce, ambient occlusion, color theory, color temperature, color relativity, all this stuff that I'm talking about, I do teach this in my painting class in anime art school. Like all of this stuff that I'm going over, I have dedicated long form lessons and assignments to learning this stuff. That's literally why we built our school, is because we want to take like all of our knowledge and put it in a class that you can actually take and get through. Like, it's big.
Practical
like, when I say
assignments.
our anime art school is like a college, it literally is. You're learning the same stuff that you would learn in painting classes and design classes and stuff. So if you're interested in that, you can go check it out here. It's going to be the yellow button.
Yep.
And I really, really worked hard on my painting class. Like, I cover all of this stuff in depth. I talk about half of the class, or like the first 40% maybe, is a rendering class. Like, I'm teaching you calculating cast shadows, half to black, industrial design, like rendering, bounce light, local values. And then the second half of the class, or like the second 60%, is a mixture of design and color theory and like still lifes and background paintings where we consider color palettes and low key, mid key, high key,
Yep.
all that kind of stuff.
Really, really good stuff. He put in a lot of just thought and care into like how to organize the lessons and stuff.
And the same with all the classes in the school.
Yeah. Well, like I think one of the things that we really try to do was make it practical. So it's like when we do demos, we basically go from start to finish, and you're like, okay, follow along, and then do it on your own.
Yeah. Like this, for example, is some of my demos from week. I don't remember what week it is. Maybe like 4 or 5 or something.
Yeah.
And every single thing, I render and paint all of this with a basic round, and I draw it using what I taught you in the perspective class, which was before this one, and I render everything like this right here. This is a shot with multiple colored light sources. You can see all the objects have 2 shadows. Shadow, shadow. And then the top one has 1 light source. Render blocks. And then I do assignments like this. Like, we literally draw out a complete bedroom from scratch and then render the entire thing by hand with the basic round brush.
Yep.
And I cover every single step of the entire process and explain all of the decisions after teaching you how to calculate all the shadows and everything. It's like what you would take in a design school.
Yep. So he teaches you this stuff first, make it simple. Well, this is not as simple, but he teaches you even simpler stuff like just one form, and then he has you stack the forms and then all that stuff later.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's very much like...
Yeah. And then we learn how to apply it later with like environments and backgrounds and stuff. You know? Still lives. Another still life. So I do these from scratch. Same with like this. Backgrounds, color, composition. I do teach composition as well. I'm really proud of this class. I think it's a really good painting class.
I think so too.
Really good painting class.
Textures and stuff. Really good stuff.
Can any person? Yeah, any person can join. There's no age requirement. Everything is safe. There's no like
Nudity
NSFW or anything. We built it with. If you can understand every single thing we're saying right now, you'd be able to take the class.
Yes.
So like,
For
if
sure.
you can understand the words that I'm saying now, that we talk in plain English. What does saturation have to do with value? Saturation is the intensity of the color. Doesn't really have a lot to do with value. You just want to understand colors have local values. Yellow is light, blue is dark, red and green are kind of like medium.
Dark.
But the problem with green when it comes to digital is, look at this. This is not a color you can possibly achieve in traditional painting. Like, it is a neon green. Unless you use like a glow stick to paint, you just can't really achieve it. Even like phthalo green, which is an extremely strong green traditionally, is sort of like a cool green that's like here, right? Phthalo green kind of looks like that, right?
It does. It's probably even darker than that, actually.
Which is known as one of the strongest greens because it's like a chemical color.
It like gets into
So
everything.
if
Like
you're-
same thing like alizarin crimson.
Yeah, if you're painting and you're learning painting digitally, I firmly believe, I very strongly believe that it's really important to limit yourself, because you can choose colors that are art-breaking colors. And if you don't use them with like an understanding and care, it can really be confusing.
Yeah.
So I really, really, really recommend doing like limited palette studies, especially if you're doing digital. Very limited palette, because it's hard. Like, it's hard to learn. Like, digital art has this crazy color wheel with so many colors, and it's just insanely powerful. And like, stronger colors does not mean better. That's the problem. Is it's like, if I want green, boom, we got green.
Yeah, it's. I feel like when people first start working with color, they go to like the extremes. They go to the extremes first, and then they're like, why do my colors not look good?
Yeah.
But you know, like that green is not necessarily a realistic green. You would generally most of the time realistic colors are a bit duller. They're also lower in value, not super crazy intense. So it's like you gotta have a bit more finesse. But like that just comes with a bunch of studies. Like, and as Colton said before, like doing still lifes just helps a lot with like understanding what your range is like for colors and stuff.
I don't know about you guys, but I love fisheye perspective. It's so cool. Like that looks so cool to me.
It's like going to a different dimension.
This kind of stuff. Fisheye perspective is really complicated, though. It's not worth learning for most people, just because there's so much underlying knowledge you need, and like practice you need.
You know, I think like saturation and stuff, it can be used as like a tool. Like you can use saturation as contrast, where you like have a lot of much more muted colors, but then some areas is like more saturated, and that could be like a interesting, like eye-catching point, you know?
Yeah. I think another thing is like one of the most powerful things about fisheye perspective is that you can use it subtly. You don't have to use it intensely. You can use it very subtly. Like, say for example, you want to make like a 1-point perspective scene, right? Here's your horizon line. Here's your vanishing point. Right? You got all your lines coming out. You can use a really, really subtle fisheye perspective here. So instead of making all these vertical and all these horizontal, like this, your grid. So there's like 1 point, right? You can use fisheye and ever so slightly, even less than that, like ever so slightly curve your lens, switch to a fisheye lens from a linear lens, like from linear to fisheye, and this will allow you to just show a little bit more and have a little bit less restrictions, and it feels a lot more natural than fisheye, or it feels a lot more natural than like linear perspective in a lot of cases. And so all of your boxes are going to be following this slightly curved grid instead in 1 point. And you don't have to make a crazy, because this is really zoomed in, right? This is like if you have a fisheye grid, what it really is you've got your Z. I would recommend, you know, dabbling around and trying this out. Well, we'll just do that for now. So fisheye is like you've got your Y up top and bottom. You've got your X's on the sides. So here's like a fisheye grid. And what this grid that I drew above is it's a crop of this circle. And we just take...
Can you search the grid?
Yeah.
You know?
It's a crop of this. Kind of like, you know, maybe we'll just do a tiny bit more. Maybe like this. So it's sort of like a crop of this right here.
Wow, it is.
Right? You've got just a little bit of a curve here and there. You're not drawing anything directly above you. You're not drawing anything directly below you. Lot of professional artists actually draw in grids like this because it just gives a little bit more wiggle room and flexibility, and it looks more dynamic.
Is it bad that I can't draw out of imagination, but I can draw from a reference? Completely normal.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. There's I can tell you why. It's not bad or anything. Drawing from imagination is something that you have to practice and put like deliberate study into.
Drawing from imagination requires you to pull from like your experience and your knowledge of a subject. So like if you can only draw with a reference, you know, that just means that you need to, you know, just draw a lot and memorize forms and stuff. Like, I mean, I can draw a person generally from memory because I've drawn so many people. but it's also just like, you know, you draw with reference and you draw without reference and you try your hardest, you know, on both. Like I mean, it's also possible where you can draw from reference and then try to memorize it. You know, that can also help you a lot if you want to train your memory, and on how you reconstruct and stuff. I find that's actually easier to memorize or draw from imagination when I know the forms.
What
So, like-
perspective is this? This is a crop of a fisheye lens, and it's closest to 1-point perspective, except it's slightly fisheye. Anyways, what were you saying?
Oh, I just say, like, if I know how to construct a human, I basically just drew a bunch of people drawing studies, constructing it from the ground up, understanding their forms, and then that way I use those same tools to do it, you know, with drawing poses from imagination. But like, I don't necessarily think that imagination is like the only goal. I think there's a lot of limitations to just from imagination. Like, I'll notice that if I'm only drawing from imagination, like, I'll get really limited with what I draw because I don't really draw that you know, crazy amount of stuff. So like, all of my drawings from imagination will feel very like just the same, you know. So I would need more reference to draw things that are more different, you know. But that's just normal. But it's like, I wouldn't really necessarily want to draw a crazy designed out dynamic pose from imagination. I would try to get a reference if I can, find the one that I need. But like, even then, you can use that study to continue memorizing and finding ways to draw it from imagination as well. You guys got me back into drawing. Thank you so much. Ah, awesome.
Nice.
And he also said you've made this all make so much sense. I couldn't read. We try, you know. Teaching is kind of hard because like, you're drawing and you're also trying to explain at the same time, and it's like multitasking a lot. But we're both very glad that it makes sense. Well, that's fun.
Yeah, this is it's a fisheye lens, but it's cropped in to about here. So and in the center of the lens. So it's very similar to 1-point perspective, but there's curvature. So, you know, this is the lens. This is our grid, our fisheye grid. See, most tutorials you see that go how to draw in fisheye perspective, they're not actually people who are very good at drawing in fisheye perspective a lot of the time. They're people who kind of have like memorized a formula, and it always looks weird. Like, they're always doing like, it's always like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're
I
like,
know what you
oh,
mean.
and their boxes are way too long a lot of the time. Like, how to draw in. I've seen so many like YouTube shorts and TikToks that are like this. They're like, how to draw in fisheye perspective. And it's just like completely useless for the average artist. It's like, they're not wrong. It's just, this is not how the average person would use fisheye perspective in order to draw something.
It's funny.
Like, that's kind of how their
demo
tutorial looks. But most, like, when professionals use fisheye perspective, they don't draw the whole grid a lot of the time. They just crop the image into part of the grid.
You know what would be a good thumbnail? It would be that example versus the one above it, and be like, oh, this versus that.
Yeah, like a lot of professionals will do a fisheye grid with their Z right here. Right? Here's their Z. Here's their X axis. And it'll kind of look like this.
It's just part of a grid.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And they'll draw like characters dynamically in like right here. And their grid is cropped in right here. Like, I know a very specific example.
TB choice.
Where is it? Here it is. I know a very specific example. This is not right. TB Choi has a really good example on her, like, no, that's not Fisheye.
It's the kicking one, right?
Yeah, this is not the right post. Where are you? There it
It's hard to
is.
find them.
Really good example right here from TB Choi. This is the grid. So, you know, here's her fisheye grid. There's her y-axis. Here's her x-axis. Here's her z vanishing point, aka the 1-point perspective point. And then here's the curvature of the fisheye grid. Like this. She's kind of cheated it a little bit, but it's close enough, right? And then here's the curvature of this. Oops, I pulled that out on accident. Like that. So she's using a fisheye grid here to draw a person kicking, but she's not using, you know, the big... Where is that? Oh, here.
Big one.
She's not using this. She's cropping it, like, right here. And so the tutorials online that teach fisheye drawing, like, they don't really give you good advice on, like, how to actually use it in a practical way. First off, fisheye drawing is really hard. So tutorials generally aren't going to be able to help you anyways, because it's kind of like a very advanced move.
It's like a level 10 and you're a level 2?
Yeah, it's like a, I don't know, level 10, like, Giat art. I don't know. What do they say, level 99 or something?
Is it?
And so it's like, here's the perspective, the bottom of the boxes, and things get smaller very, 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 very quickly in fisheye. I'm talking like a box in the background is going to look like this big, or like this big. In a perspective, 1-point perspective gets small really, really, really fast. Fisheye is even faster.
That's also a good exercise, just to do a bunch of scenes like that, like what you're just doing right now.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a YT channel? Yes, we do.
Yeah, we're actually live there right now.
Mm-hmm. It's the same name, Draw Anime Academy.
This guy will probably be a little bit smaller.
Oh my. Feels like Inception.
I'll notice they'll use this in animes too, and they'll even crop it. They'll go, or they'll use like a what is it called, a Dutch angle or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll rotate it,
Oh.
and then they'll frame their canvas like this. So like sometimes these perspectives will get really confusing that you see in anime. They will have a fisheye lens that's cropped into a specific part, and then they will use a Dutch angle to tilt the horizon line to give it a tilt, and it'll look like this. And you'll be like, "What the heck perspective is this? Is it 1 point?"
Is it?
It's just like it's confusing to a lot of people, because like it's just not something that you learn in a basic perspective class. It's like a much more advanced thing. So you know, and then they'll go,
Ooh. It's like a sunset or a sunrise.
maybe so. And here's my horizon line. I'm literally erasing it out so you can see the background. I probably shouldn't be doing that. Maybe something more like that.
What's 2-point perspective then?
2-point perspective? 2-point perspective has 2 vanishing points. It's basically invented so you can look at the edge of things. Like, if I wanted to look at the edge of a box or an object, I would probably use 2-point perspective. Like this. So if this edge is my focus, or looking at something from an angle is my focus, I would probably use 2-point perspective. Or I have a vanishing point on one side and a vanishing point on the other. Here's a vanishing point, and then there's one down there, and this would be 2-point. You could do 2-point in 5-point, which sounds very confusing.
2-point and 5-point.
It sounds very confusing, but what it is in reality is basically you draw a 5-point perspective grid like this. Except you take the Z and you move it 45 degrees, and you take an X and you move it 45 degrees, and then it ends up looking like this. So this would be 2-point. Like, this would do the same job as 2-point perspective, except it would be in a fisheye lens. And it would look like this. And then if you actually want to be able to see the box, it would look like this.
Whoa. It's like creating a 2-point grid with a fisheye.
Yeah, this is a 2-point, basically 2-point perspective inside of a fisheye lens. So here's your box.
How are layers used? Depends on how you want to use them, I guess. Like,
and if you have
used to
boxes
organize your
going into
work.
the background, you've got this. And what this actually allows you to do is it allows you to draw these boxes over here too. Like this. So this would come out like that. You know, and this one would come up like this.
Whoa. Cool hallway.
Yeah, so if you wanted to draw like a cool hallway in a fisheye lens, you'd probably use this. And then if a person's like, I don't know, standing down here.
That's eerie.
It is kind of eerie.
It's like you're looking through like a peephole, and then you kind of like turn a bit, and there's a person right there.
A lot of people use this one to really good effect. And again, you would rarely use the entire grid. You would probably use like this much of the grid. And so you'll see artists who occasionally use...
Just crop it.
Yeah, they'll crop it. And they go, boom. There's the crop. This is a wall. You know, maybe you'll have someone hiding over here.
Okay. Oh,
And
that's really cool.
They'll do that, like an interesting... I would say if you want to learn how to draw in fisheye lenses, it is the most useful thing in the world to learn how to move vanishing points within your fisheye lens. There's a lot of different fisheye lenses that you can use. You can move the vanishing points anywhere you want to. Where the heck? Oh, here it is. You can move them anywhere you want to. Like, this is like a, I don't know, 22.5 rotation. This is like a 3-point perspective inside of a fisheye lens where, you know, your Z in the middle got moved to the left. Your X got moved to the left, and now you're looking up, so your Y got brought down. And this is like fisheye 3-point perspective. And again, rarely going to see this whole grid. Probably going to end up seeing something like this. And now that would be like a really cool fisheye lens city shot, and you would see, you know, you'd see like buildings and crap in the distance, and maybe like ships flying around, and you'd see maybe like the bottom of like a big freighter spaceship flying over above you.
Oh, that's sick.
Like, that would be a cool shot for that. I still like this.
I like that one a lot, too. Turn that into an anime girl and you're golden.
Yeah, I definitely need practice with fisheye lens drawing, but I can construct them. Like, I'd be able to fix this up and... Gina is really, really good at it. Holy moly. And again, I'm going to try to put my brush strokes in perspective to help encourage the illusion.
Wow. I really like that Dutch angle. Really makes it
a
feel
lot cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns a standard looking shot to a more dynamic one just by tilting it.
Yeah, and these are going to get like exponentially smaller.
Where would the Z be on that perspective with the multi-box one, not the human one?
Which one?
Guessing the one that was on yours still.
This one?
Yeah.
Is this the one you're talking about? Where would the Z be on the perspective with the multi-box one? Yes, the Z is right here. Z is, like, if you're drawing in 1 point perspective, the only vanishing point is Z, right? So this is 1 point perspective, right? Where you have a vanishing point and you've got your horizontals and your verticals. This is Z. That's in front of you is Z. Forwards and backwards is Z. And so in this, I moved Z over and down. And Kay has an interesting question. How do you know how to make the exact perspective points? Vanishing points are 90 degrees apart. That is one of the most useful pieces of advice I can possibly give you for fisheye drawing. Vanishing points are 90 degrees apart from each other, assuming you're drawing a box. What that means is, if I'm drawing in 2 point perspective, right? Here's a point, and I draw a box. Here's a box, 2 point perspective, right? Everybody, a lot of people know how to do this. Vanishing point, you know, VP1 and VP2, or, you know, this is probably either X and Z, or if it's on the other side, this is Z and X. Z and X are going to be 90 degrees from each other because a box has 90 degree corners, right? 90 degree sides. All these are 90 degrees, 90 degrees. And so when this goes back and this goes back, they're 90 degrees apart. Because remember, your horizon line is not a straight line. It's a circle. It's a circle around your head, right? Here is you, and here's your horizon line, and it goes around you in 360 degrees. And when you draw a box, those vanishing points will end up 90 degrees apart on this circle that goes around you. This is like a top view. And so if you have trouble knowing where to put your vanishing points, just remember, they're 90 degrees apart from each other. So if I draw a fisheye lens, I can put my vanishing point anywhere I want. Right? Here's my fisheye lens. Z is usually right here if you're looking straight. But if I'm rotating my object, I could put Z here. I'll move it over there. So this is what it is, right? You got Z, X, Y, X, and Y. So this is forward. This is to my right. This is to my left. This is below me. This is above me. And if I want to move Z, I don't know, right here, this one also has to move over an equal amount because these guys have got to stay 90 degrees to each other, right? So let's say I move Z and X. This one goes away. And I move Z right here. And I move X right here. Well, my lens is still going to curve it because remember, when you're drawing in fisheye perspective, your lens curves everything around the center line of the lens. So here's my center line right here. Everything's got to curve around that. Curve, 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 right? So that's my new Z, and this is X. Curve, 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 curve. My Y and my Y's have not changed, so I'll just bring those around. I've only rotated this box horizontally. I haven't rotated it vertically. And so a box on this grid would look like this. See, I've rotated that box 45 degrees.
I need to try that.
So like, you know, you want to know exactly like where. I can keep that if you want.
Yeah, keep it because I want to look at it.
Yeah. So knowing this, number one, vanishing points are 90 degrees apart from each other. How wide is a circle? It is 180 degrees. So there's going to be a vanishing point on the left, in the middle, and on the right, and on the top, and in the middle, and on the bottom. These are all 90 degrees apart from each other. So if I move one, I have to move the other to keep it 90 degrees. And so I can move them wherever I want, right? I could make a grid, and the distortion is separate from the grid, or the distortion, the camera lens itself is the thing causing the distortion. So, right, here's my fisheye lens, and let's say I move, here's Z, here's Y, here's X, here's X. Let's say I move Z over 45 degrees, and then I move it down 45 degrees. So it's here. And then I move X over, and I move X down. So here's some vanishing points. These are still 90 degrees from each other. But if I move these down, I have to move this one down too. Now this is going to look really confusing. You're probably already completely lost, unfortunately. I'm sorry. It's literally the only way that I know to teach it. Like it's just this complicated. Okay, here's a vanishing point. What do lines do? They come out straight from the vanishing point. But not in a fisheye lens. In a fisheye lens, they wrap around the center like I did last time, right? Remember? Wrap, wrap. Here's my center of the lens. It's the center of the circle. Wrap, wrap. So these ones have to do the same thing. Wrap, 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 wrap. Right? And this one, here's the center of the lens. It wraps around the center. It goes through this other one. Wrap, straight, wrap, wrap. Same with this one. It wraps around the center. Wrap. It wraps and wraps and wraps and wraps. Like that. These come out and they kind of like magnetically pull like this. It's kind of a messy grid. Like that. And now we got this combobulation of confusion. Let's just erase that down and we have a grid. And we know we're looking up at the box from below, right? So the box would actually look like this. This would be straight. This would be curved. There's my box in a fisheye lens rotated 45 degrees. So here is my Z, here is my right X, and here is top Y. These are my vanishing points. And so if I wanted to draw boxes using these, it would look like this. Doesn't this remind you of like learning algebra for the first time where you're just confused as heck? I have good news for you. I suck at math. I literally don't even remember the basics of like algebra and all that crap. So if I can learn this stuff, you can. It just takes some practice. I don't even remember like the basics of that. I never took pre-calc. I never took any of that stuff. I don't remember that. I don't need it. I mean, maybe I need it sometimes, but
I don't know when
I don't know when. I have yet to encounter that, right? So here's my boxes, right? So if I want to look up at this box, if I can remember it, or if I can learn this stuff, so can you. I believe that strongly. Right, so there's boxes in that crazy fisheye. I think I get it, but I'm confused how to calculate if one point is 90 degrees apart from the other. It's simply half the circle. That's the crazy part of it, is you use your circle as a measuring stick, right? So you go, here's my circle. Here's the center of my circle. This is 90 degrees, right? This is 90 degrees. So if I move, I can use my circle as a measuring stick. So if I split this in half and in half like that, if I move this one to here, then I can split this in half, and I move this one to here. So this is my new vanishing point. See? So it allows you to rotate boxes in any way you want inside of a fisheye lens, right? So this one's right here, and it goes like this. So I just rotated my box 22.5 degrees, because if this is 90, this is 45, then what's half of 45? 22.5. So this is my 22.5 mark. You know, 90 divided by 2 equals 45. 45 divided by 2 equals 22.5. So I know that 1/4 of this circle is 22.5 degrees, which just so happens to look like this as a box. That's a box rotated at about a 1/4 turn, right? Because we've got, that's, I'm wrong. That's about a 1/3 of a turn. Here, let me do this. There's a box rotated at a 1/4 turn. Half, half, half. There's a 1/4. So it's 1 to 3, or 1/4 of a turn. And so what does a box look like right here? You know, this. There's my box. It's flipped, but.
What do you think about this?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, thank you. I'm kind of trying.
So you moved that over there. Yeah, that's right.
Yay.
See, Christina did it. She gets it.
I did it. Kind of. I think this one's a bit, like, trickier, because I'm like, oh, like, where do these lines go? And where do the verticals go? But if the verticals stay the same, then I just, like, travel that over. It's hard. Like, these ones are, like, trickier for me.
I think that's about right. Let me look.
Maybe. I don't know.
You would get a little bit coming back here.
Oh, okay.
You'd see this in front of this box a tiny bit.
Oh, okay.
Wait, so you'd kind of get like, oops, I can't draw that one.
Yeah.
You'd get like that sort of thing right there.
Oh.
Probably.
Okay.
Depending on how deep your box is.
Okay.
So yeah, if you want to move vanishing points, just remember they have to stay 90 degrees from each other. And your circle is your measuring stick. So you know that half of the circle is 90. A 1/4 of the circle is 45 degrees. And so it just allows you to move your vanishing points around. I find it gets a little bit tricky when you start moving them up and down, because if you move them over, it's just on a straight line. If you move them down, it's on a straight line. But if you move them over and down, they don't just come straight down. They actually follow the curvature of that one. So if I wanted to move it 45 degrees over and 45 degrees down, it would actually have to move along the curvature of the circle. So it would actually go in the middle of like this pizza slice right here. Right? There's that pizza slice, and it would come in the middle of it.
Wait a second.
So I found that out the hard way by being confused for a really long time. And a lot of this perspective, by the way, I actually discovered myself. A lot of other people know it too, but I couldn't find any education on it. So I literally just bought a fisheye lens.
Gosh, T said, oh, not said, they got Jake tier.
Oh, nice.
Yippee! Thank
Gosh,
you.
T, go SHT 777 full. Thank you for getting to Jake tier. But yeah, I literally bought a fisheye lens that clips onto the front of my phone. You can see.
Okay.
and I actually just ran a bunch of experiments. I like took pictures of the inside of our place, and I just like drew on the edges of the walls and tried to figure out where the vanishing points are. So if you guys want to discover this for yourselves and you're interested in it, what
if you made a video called Fisheye Perspective but explained with food?
We could do that.
That could be fun. Pizza.
If you guys want to discover Fisheye Perspective yourself, buy one of these cheap. They're like $13. It's a little fisheye lens. And you can literally just buy one, take pictures, and then put it into your drawing app and trace the photos to see where the vanishing points are. And so you can, what is this? So you can like reverse engineer it. Fisheye is really cool. It's incredibly difficult because it requires like a fluency in 1, 2, and 3 point perspective in order to like attempt it, because it builds on that. It's like fisheye perspective is all of the perspective before it, plus like a couple of new concepts that are foreign to the other perspective, like curvature. Curvature is really confusing at the beginning.
That was a fun page.
But it lets you draw. It gives you a lot of flexibility when drawing. I used fisheye extensively for filming skateboarding. In the good old days. In the good old days. How about normal perspective? I don't know if I'm going to cover that today. I do have a video on YouTube actually called Learn the
Fundamentals of Art in 2 hours.
Of Art in 2 hours or something. I don't remember. It has like a meme as the picture.
A sweating meme.
Yeah, like a sweating meme. But essentially, like, vanishing points is when something gets so far away you can't see it anymore, right? You throw a baseball, it goes and it goes and it disappears. That's a vanishing point. It's the reason that my hand is big, and when I pull it away, it's small. It gets smaller visually as it gets further away. That's like the whole basis of perspective. And when you have a box, like if you have a rectangle and you put it in perspective, like you have A and B, A and B, right? Line A and line B. When you put it in perspective, it's going to foreshorten. So here's line A and here's line B. Line B gets smaller because it gets further away, right? Line A is this hand, line B is this hand. Look how much smaller my hands are than each other. See? But if I move this one closer, it becomes the same size as the first one. If I move it further, so imagine this is the front of your box and this is the back of your box.
Lucifer, you're in luck because this live is also on YouTube.
Yes.
So you can go to our channel, Draw Anime Academy,
and
on
so,
YouTube.
When things get smaller, they converge towards a point, right? Here is that point. The point is called a vanishing point, which is crazy because that's exactly what's happening. They're going away from us. That's like the whole idea of perspective, is things get smaller as they get further away.
Do you have a course dedicated to learning how to draw perspective points and things like that with more in-depth topics?
I do have a class. It's my perspective and dimensional drawing class in our anime art school. I don't teach perspective drawing in it extensively, but I do teach the basics of draw through, like 1 point. You know, I teach drawing ribbons. I teach drawing objects from different angles with the same proportion. I teach exercises to help intuitive perspective, like this kind of stuff. Cross sections and organic stuff. I teach how to like build stuff and put them together like a lizard, and then how to make it organic and draw it constructed in 3D. I teach like landscape and overlaps. I am planning on doing a YouTube video at some point. So I actually built this class before I understood fisheye perspective well enough to really teach it good. But now that I learned fisheye perspective, I am probably going to put another section in that class that covers fisheye perspective. But that's in our anime art school. And that's what it's a 14-week long class. It's basically the perspective that I learned when I went to FZD, which is a school in Singapore that teaches concept art. It focuses almost the whole year on drawing and perspective. And so I teach a lot of the stuff I learned in FZD in that class. They did not teach fisheye perspective, by the way.
No. Fisheye is very niche.
Yeah. It's kind of like an advanced skill that you learn later on. It's like
Yep.
It's like a subclass that someone who's like level 7 or like, I don't know, 6 can unlock. I would say fisheye drawing is like once your artist player reaches level 5, I don't even know, level 6, they can unlock a new class feat, which is fisheye drawing, and they can actually manage it.
Yeah, that's actually a very good way to put it. Do you have a Discord server? Yes, we do.
We do, right here.
It's also on our website. It's not
Yep.
showing, unfortunately. It's not showing on TikTok.
Come on, TikTok, work with me.
Yep. So you can find it on our website, drawanime.com. Sorry. I'm sick, so my throat's just always being weird right now.
Yeah, it is recorded. You can join the Discord server. So that's the only thing I have right now as far as courses go. I teach a perspective, but it doesn't cover fisheye perspective. It covers everything else, but it's like very practical perspective. So it gives you a bunch of environment drawing and object drawing and placing things in perspective and drawing people from different angles and all kinds of stuff. Because like fisheye is all of this stuff plus a couple of extra things on top.
Yeah.
99 or not 99, maybe like 90% of fisheye drawing is all just the previous stuff.
Well, they gotta have a concept of knowing how to draw a box in 2-point perspective, 1-point, 3-point, in order to kind of like bring it all together.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dreamy.
I would love to do like a actually I did do a YouTube video a while back on perspective, and it was
fisheye?
called what did I call it? Like
Maybe the most important perspective video you'll ever see.
Would you load? What the heck? Thank you. The most important perspective drawing lesson something. I don't know. It's cut off. This is it. Perspective drawing nobody taught you.
Yep.
This covers more and different stuff that I explained today. And I actually do it with pencil and paper. That's on our YouTube channel. Our same handle, Draw Anime Academy. Did you put your finger down for that circle?
Yes.
It looks like an oval. To me
I did
for
put my
some
finger
reason.
down.
You did? Did you
Yeah.
put okay.
I held it down. What if I move the Y's?
You would have to then move those ones too. So if you
Oh.
moved Y down to say here,
Mm-hmm.
you would probably move this one down to like, I don't know exactly. I'm only familiar with doing it like right here.
Oh.
If you moved Y, oh yeah, you'd probably move it down like here. Let me see. I would have to make I'd have to run an experiment, but it'd be something like that probably.
Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna stick to this one first.
Sure, it's up to you.
It's yeah.
If you move Y 45 degrees down, those ones end up, well, now that I think about it, I think it actually would be that because the horizon line would curve, right? Because you're taking the camera and you're starting to look up. So the horizon line would start to go,
Okay.
it would start to curve. So yeah, it would basically
be down here.
It would basically be like, see, this line right here would start to go like that, right?
Oh, that's
So it would be
why.
on the same spot on the line. It would just be a curved
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Because remember, the lens is the thing causing the distortion. The
Right.
lens and your vanishing points are like separate entities that work independently of each other. Like they interact,
So I
but
wanna move
moving
this
your
one.
lens will distort everything. So it would do that.
So this one. And then this one right here would
basically just go off.
okay, so it would move down this way.
Yeah, it would move that way.
Okay,
But
so we go
remember,
outside.
you're basically gonna have this now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not gonna connect to this one.
Okay.
It's gonna go like that. Before it would go like this, right?
Right. Yeah.
But now, since you moved it down, it's basically gonna go like that.
Oh.
It's just gonna kind of fly off into the
fly
distance.
up onto this. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Those are the questions that I always had. Like, what happens when you move it down? What happens to the other vanishing point? It gets like pressed against an invisible wall, like an invisible barrier, and those kind of fly off into the distance.
And this one, since
Yeah,
it moves
so
down,
that's gonna go through that mark right there.
right there because it moves.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then and then this one is, I believe, gonna move right there.
Oh.
And there.
Okay.
And
So
so
this
now-
line turns into this line because it's rotated
Yeah,
up. Oh,
this is your
okay.
horizon line, right?
Okay. Yep.
So now that you're starting to look up, your horizon line gets curved, and your vanishing points are still on your horizon line. But remember, they're all gonna curve. They're still gonna curve around the center, so they're gonna curve around this, like that. And there's
Okay.
the horizon line, and then they're gonna go like that.
Wow. Okay. What about on the side? Same thing? It's kind of like a
Well-
little star.
Well, yeah, but remember, it's gonna it curves around this.
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
It comes out like that.
Okay. Okay.
Sounds like a little spider. And then I would draw a line right through the center of your lens. And the vanishing point.
Oh yeah. Hold up. Wait, hold up. Oh, I see. See,
It's the center of your lens.
Okay.
And now all of your perspective lines are going to wrap around this line that I just drew.
Okay. So this one.
Yeah.
It's very procedural.
And this one is going to go through this vanishing point.
Oh, they're all linked together, and
Yeah.
this one goes to over here.
Yeah. So you have some pretty good guidelines to start with when you do this. It's not like guessing, you know?
Yeah.
Remember, keep an eye on this line.
Okay.
You're wrapping around it.
Okay. That one goes through this one.
Yeah. And then I like to just keep an eye on these tick marks, right? I make this line quite dark because I know I have to keep an eye on it, right? And then all these lines are going to wrap around it like this.
Okay, that one's like a little onion.
Yeah, it's kind of like that sort of thing.
Okay.
Once you get used to the motion, every vanishing point in Fisheye turns into that, unless it's a Z in the middle. And then it's just straight lines. Yeah.
Okay.
And there's your grid.
There's my grid.
Like that's the grid, and you can subdivide any of those if you want. So it's a box that is rotated 45 degrees. So it's like this, right? It's rotated 45 degrees here, and it's rotated 22.5 degrees like that. So the box is literally in this rotation, except it's in a fisheye lens.
So if I
Because
were
you
to-
only moved it down a quarter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this, all I have to do now is just follow these guidelines.
Yeah, and I like keeping an eye on my vanishing points. And remember, anytime a line hits the center of the lens, it's just a straight line. That's on
now
the
this is
center of
the
the lens.
Huh.
This line's center of the lens.
Oh, yeah,
so
it
it's
is.
just
It
going to be a
is.
straight.
Okay.
And this one is going to be a straight.
Okay.
Like that sort of thing.
Okay.
If you want it to end there. You don't have to make it end there. You tilted it.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
It's hard to
Wow. That's hard.
Did Gene had you do this stuff, right? A little bit here
I think
and
at
there?
the very last week, and I got lost, and I was like, I'll just stick to the regular. But I remember he did talk about moving it. I don't know if he talked about this one particular, but I remember he talked about this one. This one I get a little bit more.
Yeah.
This one's a bit.
I find that one pretty tricky
Yeah.
because you're dealing with three vanishing point. Like the center of your lens is weird. It's where everything straightens out. No matter where your vanishing points are, the center of your lens is always going to be straight. That's actually how you identify perspective. Like when I break down Omau's stuff, remember?
Yep.
I don't want that. I don't want that. When I break down Omau's art. You know, like we've done this one in the past.
It's just iconic.
This one right here. You look for straights. You go, where are straight lines? This is a straight line. This has to go through the center of my lens. And then I look for another straight line that intersects it. Like, probably like right here. So this, to me, where's a straight? It's hard to find sometimes because it trips you out. Mm-hmm. Here's a straight. Let me flip it. There's that. Okay, so horizon line's back here somewhere. It's tilted, so it's probably going to be that, and it has to be perpendicular to this. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be somewhere along here. And I can tell that this is curving this way, and like this is curving this way. So I know my vanishing, my line is going to be like somewhere in here. So this is the center of my camera lens. And then all I have to do is find vanishing points. Like there's definitely a vanishing point right here because that's my horizon line and I can see all the buildings converge towards it. So it's kind of going to go like this. I'll flip it because I can't draw lines. Right? And then here's that. There's the center of my camera lens. And it really helps to break down how other people do it. People who know what they're doing, not like people who are not very good. I mean, like Omao is pretty good, you know.
Oh, this isn't
probably more. This is
like someone else's art.
Yeah, this isn't my art.
No,
it's probably more like right here. And there we go. And now here's the curvature of my other vanishing points. Again, like I said, you rarely see the whole grid. You almost always only see a piece of the grid. Right? And this one, this is going to go down here, and it's like right about there. It's actually nice and easy now. As this goes down, might even be like, it's actually not quite perfectly on, but it doesn't matter. Things in real life rarely are. We'll put our vanishing point, say, right here. Here's the center of my lens. Okay, so then this comes out, and here's the rest of my grid. So all these are going to curve around the center of my lens. And I really, really want to find the center of my lens first because I know every vanishing point is going to curve around it. See?
Yeah.
There's all these, there's all those, and there's these. So this is the grid that he's using here. This is obviously bottom Y because we're looking straight down. Mm-hmm. This is going to be top Y. So he's not actually using standard 5-point perspective because usually there'd be a Z in here, right? Yeah. But this is a 45-degree rotation. Like if I drew a box in here, we're looking at the edge of a box. We're not looking at the corner.
Yep.
So you've got X way down there and another X or and Z way down there. And that's the grid. So then I would come in here and I would basically go, all right, what did we just learn? He's got like a tilted horizon. The center of the lens was the hand railing. He had a vanishing point like, here's this one. He had top Y. Top Y was the horizon. So it's like a 45 degree. It's kind of like, I would say it's probably even like this. This one was still the same. So we'll go like this. And we'll just construct that same exact grid. And then we got this. And that goes out. Wraps around this. Wraps around that. We need a couple of these too because I do realize I did see that it went behind us. Mm-hmm. And then this all comes over here. So these all wrap around that and that. And I feel like a lot of the times it's actually easier to just start with a loose grid instead of like a really clean and crisp one. Come on. There we go. There we go. So there's the grid. And then the crop is like something like that.
Oh, that's sick.
Let's see.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, I think the crop is about right there. So I'll just clip this to that. I think that's about the grid. Pretty close. And then the hand railing is like here. And it goes down. And there's the floor. And the floor comes out like this. And this comes around like that. And there's the window. And the building comes up. I think this kind of goes back further. I'm just doing it kind of off of memory. And the building comes up like that. And this building comes up like that. And there's like a pipe on the wall. It's kind of like that. Let's look at it. There's a building out here. There's a building up here that you can see the top of. It goes down pretty far. There's a building on the right that's like really getting a lot of curvature. That's basically the piece. Like that, the perspective is pretty close.
Should we use grids for less complicated perspectives? I never use them currently.
Probably. It's not a bad idea. There's no reason not to, I would say.
I think the grid is just there to set like the space.
Yeah, like a grid gives you a physical sense of the 3D space, but some people just use boxes as their grid, you know?
Yeah.
Again, it's not something, like it's something that comes through a lot of practice and training, is because like to draw a box, you've got to know exactly where you are on your grid. But when it comes to simpler perspective, yeah, I certainly think a grid is useful. It just gets some of the thinking out of the way for sure. Definitely gets some of the thinking out of the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is wide. My proportions are a little bit off, but it's whatever. It's the same, like, perspective. My balcony area is not quite big enough. And I would really, really urge people to set up a very simple, correct, like blocky version of their shot before going into more complicated stuff. Like, where are your boxes at? Where are these things sitting three-dimensionally? All right. That was fun.
Yeah.
Maybe
We'll be live tomorrow.
maybe we wrap it up and we'll go live tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hey, ouchie. You missed the whole thing, but that's not a bad thing because we'll be live tomorrow.
Yeah,
And you'll see us again.
he'll be here earlier.
Wait. Nix? Oh, never mind. Yeah, no, yay. Stop it. What time are you going to be on tomorrow? Same time. We
Yep.
generally go live around 5. Our time, 4 Pacific. Come on, Strong. Work with me. pretty fun.
It was fun. We had a lot of, you know, good topics and stuff.
Pretty fun little stream, yeah. All right, everybody.
I apologize for all the coughing.
Yeah, this was not like a comprehensive full guide to fisheye perspective. It was more like spark notes of different things to consider. I would like to, in the future, make a like full comprehensive kind of like walkthrough of fisheye perspective. But as I have warned in the past, very much the sort of thing you want to tackle after you are very proficient with 1, 2, and 3 point perspective. You have been warned. It is everything from 1, 2, and 3 point perspective plus a couple of extra things that will literally break your brain if you are not proficient. It's like, you know, trying to make like tongue twisters in a language you don't know very well. All right, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you for showing up and hanging out. And we will talk to you tomorrow.
Yep. Talk to you tomorrow.
And don't forget, we've got our anime art school stuff.
Yep.
So if you want to learn the fundamentals, if you liked what you saw on stream today, we teach it in a very organized way in classes that you'll have access to forever with homework assignments and all that kind of stuff. So, yes. Bye-bye, everybody. Oh.
Have a good night.
Have a great night. Bye-bye, YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.